Sakura, Sky, and LOKI.
Tonight, November 9th, 2014, we're fresh back from Blizzcon and ready to talk about their first big new IP in over a decade. Also, games start to disappear, including one EA MOBA and Ubisoft games from Steam. We didn't disappear, and we'll talk about all this next on the show where every gamer has a voice.
Orange Lounge Radio.
Hello, my friends out there on the internet, and welcome back to another week of the show where every gamer has a voice. It is Orange Lounge Radio, live on this November the 9th, 2014, with the 574th episode of our program. My name is Rob Roberts, and yep, I made it back. We're good to go. If you've been following the show recently, I literally just got off a plane an hour and a half ago, and here we are doing the show with my co-host, the one and only Dark Soccer, Jamie Summers.
We drifted a few times and took some curves, and I had to cut off some guy.
Yeah, Jamie actually gave me a ride from the airport. Thank you so much. Deeply appreciated. But as the kickoff song tonight for OLR, I played an old Bomani favorite that seemed very appropriate for Jamie driving down the freeway. Yeah, so if any of you have ever played like Initial D or anything like that, it's all Eurobeat music, so it seemed very appropriate for Jamie driving down the freeway. Except her music in the car is "Let's Have a Kiki."
Yeah, that was actually right when you got in the car. It was Apollo Throwdown, and then it was "Let's Have a Kiki," and eventually ended into a remix of Callista.
Yeah,
so
it was a very Jamie ride, Mass Effect remixes and so forth. But and then it ended.
Although that version was from a racing game, it's from Midnight Club, I think.
And then it ended with a burrito.
With burrito.
Hooray.
Tacos for you, tacos.
That's
Rolled
right.
Tacos.
Rolled taquitos, little snack to hold me over till the real dinner.
Rob
later.
put something long and cylindrical in his mouth.
Hey, watch it. All right. Also joining us in studio, say hello to Techmaster LOKI.
Hello.
Hi, LOKI. How are you?
Doing okay?
So I heard your PlayStation 4 is already back.
Yes. That
But
was surprisingly fast.
It's not your PlayStation 4.
No, it's just a reverb, but whatever. It's mine now.
You see this? It's mine now. So they sent you like a better one, basically.
Yeah, it was less scratched.
Nice.
And didn't have a weird smell to it.
Well, I know we'll get into our gaming weeks and all that in a little bit, but let me ask just overall, how has your experience been now that you're playing PlayStation 4 games?
Good. I wish they had some better control over when you're downloading stuff, because like I was downloading my digital version of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and I wanted to download other things first, and I paused stuff, and then even when it said it was done downloading and went into the game, I'm like, cool, I'm going to play some of this, the campaign, because I told it to download the single player first, even though I played the campaign like 6 times now. So I played the campaign, got through the first level, and it's like, please wait for the rest of the content to download. I'm like, well, what? It's got like 7 minutes left. What the hell? So I thought this was done already.
That was like Destiny, playing that for the first time. Because you put the disc in and it spins up and a little bar fills up. You're like, all right, it's installing. All right, we're good to go. And you go into the game and it's like, downloading game updates. Download. And it's like,
oh, I haven't even touched Destiny yet.
No, just warning you, you're going to have a similar experience. So be ready.
But we did play more of, or I should say, Josh was very excited to be able to play more Ninja Bots again. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. Something for everybody in the household. All right. Well, joining us in studio tonight, we have a very extra special guest here for Orange Lounge Radio. Those of you that have been listening to the show for a long time will recognize this voice, somebody who is only able to grace us with her presence once in a blue moon, but we're so happy she's here tonight in studio. Say hello, everybody, to Marissa.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome back.
Hi. It's great to be back.
And Marissa, if you have not been following the saga of Marissa...
How many parts is there?
I think there's 27. No, it's a sonnet in 27 movements. No, but you say you're not a gamer, but you totally are. Like, you know more about the Thief franchise than anyone I know. We're not going to talk about the new one. Marissa's very irritated. What went wrong? What went wrong with New Thief?
Everything.
How about one example?
Well, they really wanted to. They tried to cater to too many people at once instead of taking advantage of what made it lovable in the first place. Mm-hmm. So, and it created a really scattered vision, and they got rid of the lead voice actor, who was a motherfucking genius. So.
Well, let's talk about voice acting for a little bit, because I know that in the earlier days of OLR, because the show's been around a while, so people's lives have changed over the past 12 years. For a while, you were really into folk music, and you still are. I mean, I know that's not something you've really really abandoned. But somewhere along the way, you got the itch to get into voice acting, right?
It's actually what I had wanted to do ever since I was about 8 or 9.
Really?
I had even studied it. I studied acting intently, and I was an actor for many years. And this was actually back in my day. Like, this is when it wasn't cool. When all my theater friends would tease me, "That's not real acting." Now they're like, "Can you help me get an agent?" You know, like. And I had done all these other things, honestly, because it takes a lot of courage, as anybody knows, that when they are like the sole proprietor or an independent contractor, to represent yourself. It's a lot easier to hustle for other things. And a lot of my friends came together and they gave me, I guess, a talent intervention or something. They're like, "We can't have you crying anymore because you're coming home working at a law office. We think you're good at this thing and you should do it." Which also meant a lot to me because I know if I went to them and I was like, "I would like to be a ballerina," they'd be like, "Really?" No. That's how I knew they weren't, BSing me. So
I love that. A talent intervention. That's amazing. So you are doing voice acting now.
Yes.
Like, sadly I can't say, "Oh, Marissa's been in this game you've all played," but it'll be a road to get there at some point, right?
Right. Well, I don't know how time, because I know that the show's starting right now, but we could talk about how people start that later, because this is a little bit lengthy to talk about that process.
We'll get into that start at part B, I guess, a little bit.
Okay.
Just remind me, because
Sure.
my mind's going 100 miles an hour right now since I literally was in Anaheim earlier today, and now I'm here.
It's also one of those jobs where you're like, "Hey," there's people like, "What do you do?" I go, "Oh, I do this." And they go, "Oh, how can I get into it?"
Yeah, and you know what? And a lot of people want to know that. So, but a lot of people want to hear video game talk too. So we'll get to that a little later in the show. We'll ask all about how you got into that. Now, usually I would say let's talk about people. Let's talk about people, because you know a lot of voice actor people. But I want to keep it really positive. I don't want to talk bad about anybody. So who are some awesome voice actors that if we aren't following their stuff, we really should be? Who is doing the video games that are just awesome people?
I don't know, honestly. I don't have anyone that I've ever even heard anything negatively about, because everyone I've ever met has honestly been wonderful. And I know that, people are people and we don't necessarily get along, but, it's a community where it's very small. Mm-hmm. So
That's true. I mean, you think about video games and who is voicing stuff. It's like Jennifer Hale is in every game, and Troy Baker is in every game.
This weekend was the Troy Baker game weekend,
and that's not a bad thing. They are both gods in.
It makes the game that much better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, Troy Baker's in this. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you hear Jennifer Hale's going to be in a game, and it's like, yes, please.
There's so many facets to that too, though, because also they know that they're not only they're amazingly talented, but they're just going to show up and they're good to work with.
Yeah,
and you have a good time.
Although now that we've gotten to the age where now we're digitally scanning actors, a lot of characters in the games I'm playing are starting to look like Troy Baker, and it's okay for a while.
You must have been playing Infamous this week, I believe. We'll get to that in a little bit, though. Going to our chat over at live.vognetwork.com, because we do tape live Sunday nights at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, at the Voice of Geeks Network, vognetwork.com, right after the Bobby Blackwolf show. I'm going to do my best voices tonight with Marissa present. I'm in the presence of voice acting, soon-to-be royalty. I need to do my best. Alan Alchemy is asking a question, saying, "Marissa, have you worked on anything with Chris Hardwick? And I know that voice acting work is rarely done in a group studio setting anymore."
No, I haven't. Although, yes, that's true. Specifically with American animation, that's when it's done in a room. But actually, it is amazing. You have to give serious credit to people that do video games and anime. They give them the least amount of anything, and they just as little as possible. They just go make your magic, do something. I mean, Talizin Jaffe, I'm pronouncing his name wrong because I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. But he's an amazing actor who came into our class and talked about, one time they just threw this thing at him at the last second. It turned out in the game that he was kind of playing this butch woman. They didn't tell him that at the time, but they just threw this at him. It ended up being hilarious and funny, but they gave him so little to go on. So.
Well, and to start to transition into what I'm going to talk about next, there was a voice acting stage at BlizzCon where all weekend they had voice acting talent up there on the stage. And I was joking with you before the show. I thought of you, and I really did. And just kind of seeing some of that talent on display. I mean, there were some panels, and I'll admit I didn't stay to watch anything start to finish, but there were some demos that were near there, so I kind of, absorbed what was going on. And I heard some, some Q&A, but I also heard one panel, talking about a little bit to go on, where they were doing monster voices as requested by the audience. It was like design a monster voiceover panel or something like that. And some guy got up there and was like zombie, turkey, Thanksgiving, rat. I don't know what the heck it was, but it was crazy. And this man made the most hideous noise I've ever heard in my life. But it was, he pulled it out of thin air. I mean, imagine you have to do sometimes.
You had to be able to do that at the last second. And video games are one of the most grueling things you can do to your voice because of those efforts. Getting stabbed lightly, deeply, getting stabbed, and the knife pulling downwards to the side, and also they're like, if you have something like this, you have to be able to have range within that. Yeah. If you audition and you get the job like that, but you can't move within your any emotional range within there, you're screwed, and you're going to be hurt. You're actually going to be sounding like that at the end of the day.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Any other games you've been dabbling in lately, Marissa? I don't know if your voice acting lends any time to games, but
I've actually really just been studying what other actors have been doing more. That's really been taking up a lot of my time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I just completed a move, and then my grief over the Thief game.
Fair enough. I like that you might be looking for influence in some of the art that's out there with voice acting. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll talk to Marissa more throughout the show, and please feel free to chime in at any point. If you guys have questions for her in chat, we can do that as well. But let's move on to our kickoff topic tonight, BlizzCon. I'm back from BlizzCon, and I literally just walked off the plane about 90 minutes ago, and here we are at OLR. I spent
Rob, that's figuratively just walked off the plane.
Whatever. All right.
If you literally did it, we would be recording at the airport.
Really? Because that would be kind of fun, I think, if we could all get past security.
I'd like to point out that my positive spin on your coming out from Anaheim, he's like, Anaheim sucks, doesn't it? I was really positive about that.
Not the city block I was on, because I was within 1 mile of Disneyland at all times.
No, that is awesome. Yes.
So you did the DizCon.
No, I didn't go to Disney this time. There was no time. I arrived on Thursday, and the first thing I went to was this event called World of Podcasts. That was a Kickstarted event for the community, and this was their second year that they'd done the event. It was a lot of World of Warcraft podcasters and fan communities that came together to do this, and it was a really awesome event, I've got to say. They did a fantastic job. They really outperformed last year. And not to knock last year, but everything starts somewhere and then gets better, right? So, I mean, it was like 5 times the size of what they had last year. They had a room dedicated to panels, and I was fortunate enough to be on a panel where I was talking about podcasting, which, I can talk a lot about, right? They had a room where you could take your pictures in front of a green screen. So myself and Dr. Ken from the Starboard Power Coupling podcast and our friend Talrix all got a photo with Sylvanas, thanks to the green screen magic. So that was fun. And there was an art gallery in one of the rooms. And this fan website, Ask Mr. Robot, those of you that listen to Horde House probably remember when we had V on the show from Ask Mr. Robot. But Ask Mr. Robot is a site that is really aims to make players better through data that is submitted to them from logs and through analysis and lots of big, complicated math, basically. But Ask Mr. Robot actually sponsored this art gallery where they had a bunch of photos from the fan community that were up on the walls and everywhere. And I got to tell you this. At the con, I got a tweet from V, and she said, hey, come find me. I'm over by the Illidan statue. So I went over. She said, I got something for you. So I went over to the statue, and she gave a gift on behalf of Ask Mr. Robot to Horde House. And believe it or not, what she gave us, one of the prints that was on the wall on display at World of Podcasts. And each print was specifically picked to match the podcast. So we got a picture of an orc baby with a handwritten card from V that said, so you can hang it in your studio and have a picture of Grandpa.
Aww.
It is fantastic, and I'll give you more information.
There's not enough vodka.
I'll give you more information about that on the next episode of Horde House. But if you are a Warcraft player, check out Ask Mr. Robot.
Is it supposed to look like a troll doll?
It's supposed to have a distinct look to it. I mean, it does look like an orc as a baby, and my favorite is that he has that con funk coming off of him with all those little flies there. So
that's what that is.
Yeah,
I thought it was hair.
If you are a Warcraft player, check out Ask Mr. Robot. Look, I know we talk about ethics and game journalism and all this stuff, and I'm really not supposed to let bribes win me over. But that one kind of I'm just full disclosure. Like you give me something like that, and yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say Ask Mr. Robot.
But you're not selling a product.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. I don't, and we are commentators here at Orange Lounge Radio. There's a big difference. All right. Anyway, but all joking aside,
we aren't above selling out here at Orange Lounge Radio to the highest bidder, and we're not going to lie about it either.
I just sold out for a
We
painting.
don't have any ethics, so we can't sell them.
Now hold on, we have some
kid.
ethics. We have some ethics. All right. Anyway, so that was awesome. And let's see. So the con itself, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been following the news. They didn't say a lot about World of Warcraft because their big expansion's coming out. They announced StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void, which, we all knew that was coming, so that wasn't really a big surprise. Got to play that a little bit on the show floor. I'm not very good at StarCraft, but it just, lots of intricate cutscenes and things you'd expect was pretty cool. Diablo 3, my favorite Blizz title right now, sadly. All they could really talk about was the next mini patch. But we did get to play that on the show floor. They're going to have one new map that has these really cool spike traps on it. And they're going to have different types of treasure gnomes, like treasure gnomes that drop only gems, drop only blood shards, and things like that. So, just a little bit to get into there with Diablo. And then some bigger news with Hearthstone. They announced the Goblin versus Gnomes expansion, where the cards have a lot to do with the mechanical things that these two races make. A lot of unpredictability with that. And I got to play a match against Dr. Ken, and I made the biggest stupid noob mistake I could, because I haven't played Hearthstone in like a year, okay? So I'm playing this, and Ken gets up from his computer, and he's like, "You win." And I'm like, "What do you mean I win? I haven't killed you yet." And he's like, you have all these monsters out, you can attack me for 2 damage and I'm dead. And I was like, oh, I thought I had to clear all your minions first, like in Magic the Gathering, before I could attack you. And he's like, no. And I was like, I ended my turn on accident. And so we went back to playing and he beat me. I made the biggest dumb new mistake, but the expansion was a lot of fun. It motivated me to give Hearthstone another look. I haven't played it in far too long. Got to play Heroes of the Storm, which they're bringing some new heroes to. Jaina, Thrall, some of those people from World of Warcraft. I think Tyrael was new. I can't remember if he was already in the game or not. I apologize. Sometimes with the hero rotation, I forget who is and isn't there. So they announced some new heroes, which was cool. Sylvanas was one that they announced for Heroes of the Storm. That was awesome. She looks like a lot of fun. And got to play that, and again, had a lot of fun playing that, so I need to give that another look. And then, of course, the big one that everybody's talking about, Blizzard announced a new IP franchise. I mean, they say it's their first in 17 years. You have Heroes of the Storm, though, in Hearthstone, so it's not really their first new thing, but Heroes based off existing characters. Hearthstone based off existing lore and characters. So this is their first, from scratch thing. And as that trailer is playing, which I'm sure you've all seen by now, if you haven't, check it out on YouTube, Overwatch trailer, Blizzcon. It looks like Pixar did it. Like it was a really good trailer. Did any of you, the rest of you see the Overwatch trailer by chance? You really, really should check it out when you get a chance.
I didn't.
It was really cool. It looks like a Pixar movie, like you're watching The Incredibles or something. And my jaw hit the floor as I was watching this because I realized this was Project Titan we were looking at, because there was no way that this was pulled out of somebody's butt in a year. Now, maybe Titan had started as one thing and became this other thing that's now Overwatch. I don't know. We'll never know. Blizzard will probably never peel back the onion on that so we can really see what's in the middle there. But whatever this was the product of many, many years worth of work, clearly. And Overwatch, which is a lot of people are comparing to Team Fortress 2. I played it twice. I'm comparing it to Team Fortress 2. It is a lot like Team Fortress 2. At least the component we played was very similar to a match in Team Fortress 2 where you control one checkpoint, and then once you take over that checkpoint, you move to the next one and the next one. So it was very much like that. But the characters in Overwatch, very, very good. I mean, Blizzard took some heat last year because there wasn't enough women in World of Warcraft and a lot of strong female characters, which... you look at Overwatch and they've got men, women, robots, big, small. I mean, just a great diverse roster there in Overwatch. But it's not just the diversity. It's not just that, but it's the fact that all of these characters were so strong and so fleshed out. It wasn't like a reskin of another character. I mean, this was really a new cast of characters.
Sometimes I feel with that female thing, though, that strong female character just means not being a prostitute, being murdered in a bikini. anything above that is
Well, and there was one character I played named Symmetra that definitely had that side cut dress that was a little bit revealing, and she had kind of an Egyptian look to her, and she was kind of, like sexy. But then there was another one, Tracer, that looked like she was like a throwback to like one of those like Amelia Earhart aviators, what they would look like in the next century, like the orange goggles and things like that.
That's cool.
So, and she was like really cool, and she is the lead mascot for the game. At least that's the sense I get. So, yeah, it's around the board. There's going to be a little bit of sexy there, but there were some sexy men too. So, a little bit of everything. But the characterization at the end of the day was really, really strong. And there's a lot to devour there. The first time I played it, I wasn't really feeling it because I played Symmetra and I didn't get her at all. And I guess her thing is you want to set up as many turrets as you possibly can, fast, figure out where people... And I didn't get that. I thought, I can only have one turret up at a time. And here I am with the lowest score. Derp, derp, derp. So, I don't know. It wasn't a lot of fun when you feel like you don't know what the hell you're doing. But I went back. I said, you know what? I'm going to try it again. So I went back through the second day and I tried it again. I played a character named Mercy, which is almost exactly like the medic in Team Fortress 2, like with the heal ray. But you can heal or you can buff. It's left-click heal, right-click buff. So you have something to do when somebody's health is full besides the invulnerability thing that Team Fortress has. But the other cool thing is that when you hit the shift button, Medic will fly to whatever person you have targeted because she's like an angel type character. So she flies right to somebody. So that was really fun to like zip around. And so once I played her, I was like, all right, that was a lot of fun, even though we lost. That was really cool. So Overwatch won me over by the second day. They haven't said if it's free to play, or if it's going to be a $60 game. We don't know. I would think because Team Fortress 2 is free, and that's going to be the big comparison, I would think Overwatch will be as well, but I don't know. They could also get away with it for $60. I would not be surprised at all if Overwatch makes it to consoles, but they didn't announce that. PC is really the only thing we have. One other thing I wanted to say. I got to say kudos to Blizzard by the way they started their opening ceremony. And not to get into that whole controversy thing again, but the bottom line is, and this is what Mike Morhaime said at the beginning, like, you know what? There's been a lot of harassment, bullying in the past, couple months, and I think it's important for all of us to take a stand against harassment and bullying. And he didn't call anyone out specifically or whatever, but he you have to remember, like, harassment and bullying, unfortunately, in gaming go way back, right? They go back like years and years. And unfortunately, games like WoW, games like Heroes, people get trolled and yelled at and nerd raged at all the time. So despite all the other drama and hysteria going on in gaming community right now, I thought it was just really cool for the president of a company who sometimes is associated with games that lend themselves to cyberbullying and so forth to come out and say, hey, remember, there's somebody else on the other side of the monitor, and we here at BlizzCon want to kind of start today with creating that environment. I was won over. I was clapping, like, at that point. I was clapping. Marissa?
I'm doing my church wave.
Oh, you're doing your church wave. Yes! Yes, Mama, yes. So, anyway, I just thought that was like a super classy thing to do. So, anyway, there you go. So I'm looking at our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. Act F reminding me that the medic does have a similar metagun called the Kritzkrieg, which buffs the player you're healing. Oh, interesting. I wonder if it's like an all-in-one thing, though. I haven't played enough Team Fortress 2. Sorry about that. Kaijuda says, as far as Hearthstone, me and a few people spammed Blizzard about putting Hearthstone on the Android, and they closed the thread. Well, they did announce Android tablets are getting it in December, so you won't have to wait too long. But no phones yet. It's not on iOS phones, and it's not on Android phones as far as I know. So, that was BlizzCon. And, now that I've attended both BlizzCon and FanFest, Final Fantasy FanFest, the two big MMOs. I mean, obviously WoW is behemoth, but Final Fantasy is kind of like up and coming with a very different kind of cultural background, right? Being Japanese-based as opposed to American-based. It was really kind of cool to see how similar the events really were. I mean, BlizzCon was really well organized. A lot of the line issues that I bitched about with Final Fantasy weren't really present at BlizzCon. Like, the lines moved really briskly. Remember when I had that seating issue at Final Fantasy I bitched about here on the air? Well, Warcraft had very clearly marked, this section between this time and this time is for VIPs only. You will be asked. It was very clearly marked, and I thought, okay, that's fair. They have it very marked, and that's what they do. And they were just very efficient at getting people to do all the things they wanted to do. But in Final Fantasy's corner, I kind of thought, like, Like, I didn't need to play WoW at BlizzCon because the expansion's coming out in a week. I don't need to just play. So why not, what Final Fantasy did is, here's a new boss you can play. Or here's a special event we made just for the FanFest, like a roulette mode where you have to do a boss with these certain restrictions. It's kind of like putting little spins on the game that make it more interesting. And I think BlizzCon could have had a little more of that for the games that weren't really popular. Like, people weren't really lined up to play Diablo 3 because it was just a mini patch. But what if they had like a greater Rifts contest where if you could get to like level 15 on a Rift at the show, you'd get a special little pin or something that you could use to trade on the board. I think that is something maybe they could have gotten from the FanFest side of things. But at the end of the day, both cons were good. And the reason why, one word, community. The communities for both games, excellent. And just, I met so many great people at both. BlizzCon this past weekend and at FanFest a few weeks ago. The communities for the games are really spectacular, and y'all behaved yourselves. And I did not smell butt the entire weekend. Like, everybody was well bathed and using cologne. That or the ventilation in the Anaheim Convention Center is primo. Very well done. So I did not smell butt the entire time I was there. So, Marissa, why are you giggling?
Just laughing at the low bar we had.
All right. One other thing I'll quickly talk about, because a lot of people talking about this out of BlizzCon. On the third floor, they showed footage from the Warcraft movie. You're not going to see it on the internet because it was very much under lock and key. They were demonstrating a new Dolby surround type system where the speakers are actually on tracks, and I'm sorry, I forgot the name of this. Maybe somebody in the chat remembers this. The speakers actually move on the tracks, so that like if you hear something move, like the speaker might actually move the sound from left to right. They're on like a 360 rail. It was kind of a trip, but they played the teaser and some of the Blizzard trailers on this sound system. And it was a teaser essentially for the Warcraft movie. They said it was extended extended Comic-Con footage, but I'm sorry. They had the Dead Can Dance music in the background, which I instantly recognized. I'm like, that's Host of Seraphim. I love this song. A perfect movie trailer song, right? Especially for something like Warcraft. And then they had like all these shots. And I'm sorry, guys, I can't remember every little detail about the trailer because there was a lot of rapid cuts. Rapid. But there was definitely an orc baby coming in that movie because there was a very pregnant orc about to give birth, and my jaw hit the floor when I saw the Night Elves. Not gonna lie, when I saw the Night Elves, I was like, oh my, like I gay gasped. I did. That's all you can do. Like, the visual effects in that movie look stunning, and I think that's going to really capture a lot of people that maybe aren't even Warcraft fans, are just going to check it out for the visuals. After they showed the teaser, they said, by the way, the visual effects in that aren't complete, and I was like, what? I'm like, that looked great. And then they showed us a completed visual effects, literally just 15 seconds of an orc up close showing emotion. And it looked to be Duratan during the birth of Thrall. That's what we speculated that scene was that we were seeing. So you could see like the emotion in his face. And I was just like, it definitely has human elements, but it didn't look stupid like Shrek would be. Like, Shrek's supposed to be stupid. I'm not knocking Shrek. It's a kid's movie. But it looked like the box art of war. It looked like
a kid's movie with half the dialogue written for the grown-ups.
Right.
But
true,
yeah, still.
True. But you get what I mean, right? Like, it just...
Yeah.
Wow, it looked like the Warcraft art in motion, and I was like, this is a really good sign. I really hope the story doesn't screw this up. But I think they're doing the smart thing by not jumping right into the MMO. They're going to do the backstory, original OG Warcraft, and I think that's the smart way to do it because most people playing WoW forgot the story of the original Warcraft. So this is a great way to retell it.
See, I love the original Warcraft story.
Mm-hmm.
I hated playing the games. Mm-hmm. So this is actually going to be good for me, even though I still want Sylvanas Fuck Shit Up the movie. Mm-hmm. That would be great. And
thank you, chatters. Tiger Claw says Dolby Atmos was the name of it. That was the system that we saw there. And Alan Android in chat says, do the Night Elves look like Avatar people? Frown. No. Here's the thing, though. I gasped because I thought they were Blood Elves at first. I was like, Blood Elves are in the movie? Because they look, they're very similar in look. And then I realized, oh, wait, no, that's the Night Elf city that they're in. That's the Night Elves I just saw. So, but they looked really good, like the glowing eyes and everything.
Yeah, but also keep in mind that the Blood Elves before they were Blood Elves.
That's true. So maybe I did see that. I don't know. Who knows?
Because they went to... Yeah.
You're right.
Lore? No, I'm kidding.
Well, you know me. When I play World of Warcraft, I'm like, click, 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 give me loot, click, click, click. I don't read.
I I actually have to agree with your experience you're talking about with BlizzCon because, it's Convention Central down there. Everyone I know looks forward to BlizzCon. Everyone has a great time. And I hear the least amount of complaints about it, too, which is... everybody I know that has a good time at that one. And there's, so many conventions going on down there all the time.
It was a huge party. I mean, every night something was going on at the Hilton, just in the lobby, the just people drinking and being merry. They had a big street party Friday night for Warcraft's 10th anniversary, World of Warcraft's 10th anniversary, Warcraft's 20th anniversary. They had food trucks out there the whole time, gourmet trucks out there. It was just well done, very well organized con. Loved it. Let's see. Tiger Claw says, Sky, even though it takes place before WoW, don't be surprised if they planted Easter eggs throughout the film. I mean, you could just have a scene of the characters going into a cantina, and there you'll see all the races. You never know what's going to be after the credits, right? Unless it's a Christopher Nolan movie. You never know what's going to be after, if those of you that were paying attention to the news this week. All right. Let's see. What else is said here? Act F says, hey, what if after the Warcraft movie we get an Overwatch movie or maybe a TV cartoon series? I think they've said, I want to say they said in some media panel, they are open to that type of expansion of the Overwatch universe. I mean, this is Blizzard. There is everything for World of Warcraft. Toys, comics, movies, you name it. And now, the big movie, Diablo comics and all this, StarCraft, I mean, is huge. The Overwatch, Blizzard completely plans to be next in line. And that's the thing that they can't really do with Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone as much. As much as those games are good, they're borrowing on things that already have been existing and selling in these other franchises. So Overwatch is their chance to, monetize all the things over again, and I think they will. The characters were very, very strong. That's something that Blizzard does very, very well. Anyway, I've rambled on enough about BlizzCon, but if you want to know something else, just ask. I'll get to it at some point in the show. But before we get to the news, let's catch up with all of our hosts in how was your gaming week? So, Dark Sakura, how was your gaming week?
I played Final Fantasy 14 and some Final Fantasy 14, and I played with the cat. Yeah, that's about it. I played with the cat.
Okay.
She was pretty fun.
Sounds good. Well, lots of MMOs, they have that ability to...
I did play Mass Effect 3 for N7 Day and ordered my new hoodie.
Did they do anything special online for N7 Day?
Yes. 25% off hoodies actually through... What's today's date?
The 9th.
I think it's through the 11th that they're doing it, so...
Oh, nice. Maybe I'll check that out. I saw the faux leather jacket. That looked really hot. I wanted that.
But they also did the ordering for the Tally and Garrus statues, and I want the Garrus one, but I don't have the money for it. So
I will say I was at BlizzCon, obviously on N7 Day, and I was wearing my Final Fantasy 14 shirt just to see if anybody would get the joke. And spoiler, nobody said anything, or if they did, it was behind my back. But I did notice that there were at least 3 people that were wearing N7 gear to BlizzCon on N7 Day, which I felt really stupid. I felt really stupid not having worn my hat to the con that day.
Jeez, Rob.
So I wore it the next day.
Even after I went to all the effort to say, you can keep it.
I wore it the next day. Leave me alone. And I wore it to World of Podcasts the night before, so I just forgot that it was the 7th
I'm allowed
of
to give you a hard time.
Yes, you are. All right, Loki, how was your gaming week?
I actually played a few things. I played more Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, did some multiplayer. Had a little trouble getting the game to preload on PlayStation 3 because I had originally pre-ordered it on PlayStation 4 and it was cross-buy, so they didn't tell you that you had to, I guess, you had to download even though I already had it on one system, I had to re-buy it again on the Sony network, and then because it said free, so I had to rebuy it, and then it would unlock everything. But it was just a pain in the ass trying to get it to unlock, even because it's a Day Zero edition. It should be unlocked on Monday, but it was being stupid. So
you were a very angry Twitter user that day. I noticed you were definitely letting your feelings be known.
So I finally got it to work, and I played some multiplayer, and that was fun. It's really, really fast. So I enjoyed that a bit. I got up to level 18, I think. And then, I had sent off my my PlayStation 4. Actually, I think it was on that Monday, and I got it back on Saturday, all fixed. So I got to actually play a little bit of Infamous Second Son, which is it's okay. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of like Infamous. I got it free when they did the whole PlayStation Network outage thing. It just looked like a kind of a fun game based off of the trailers I saw, and it's okay. I don't know. I like it's open world. It's very similar to me, like a Crackdown type of game. Although Crackdown's a lot more fun. Maybe even a little bit like was it Saints Row 4, I guess, where you have like the superpowers and stuff, and you kind of do different things to collect power-ups to level your character and thing. I don't know. It's okay. The storyline so far is not really hooking me. It's just kind of bland, but I'll play it a little bit more and see, I guess. But Call of Duty is pretty awesome. I've already played through the first half of the campaign about 4 or 5 times because I did it on about 3 different systems now, and
Can you explain to me a meme I've been seeing on the internet? And granted, this is because I've been kind of out of it. I was busy with BlizzCon and stuff before that. What is the push F to pay respects thing? Can you explain that for me?
Okay, so there's I guess an interactive cutscene or part of the game where it's spoiled already, and the E3 footage I think they had where it showed the dude. Basically, your partner in crime in the Marines happens to be the son of the guy that runs Atlas, or Kevin Spacey. And so in the very first mission of the game, he gets his arm stuck in this mobile anti-aircraft launcher thing, and with a bomb on it, and so it explodes and he dies. And so you're paying your respects to him at a funeral in the very beginning, and that's when the Kevin Spacey's character invites you to Atlas and gives you the prosthetic arm because your arm gets chopped off in the first level.
That was in the E3 thing. I remember that.
That's the E3 thing.
That's not really a spoiler.
So that's not really a spoiler. So yeah,
anybody who cares has already played through that part.
Yeah,
of the game.
It's really what it is. It's an interactive cutscene, and you don't really have to push you shouldn't really have to push a button, but I think they do it on purpose so that. Because when you're paying respects, it also shows that, look, your arm is amputated. In case you didn't catch that by them dragging you away and your arm staying there. It's not a super stretchy arm now. It's your arm is gone. So
go gadget arm.
So they give you a prosthetic one later on. But it's just kind of doing that. They have a lot of weird, cutscene things that are in the game where they have you interact with it that really aren't necessary, but they have them there. So I guess they thought, it's jumping the shark, whatever. It's just like, I didn't really need to have a cutscene where I'm taking off the straps that are holding me into my harness or something, the drop ship and stuff. That wasn't really necessary. That could have been done just as a cutscene, but they had you interact with it.
All right, I get it now. I've seen all these pictures on Twitter, like somebody photoshopped the scene from Final Fantasy VII where Cloud is holding Aerith after Sephiroth did the thing,
and I'm cheering in the background,
and it says "push F to pay respects," and I was like, okay, there's a joke here about the new Call of Duty somewhere.
But and then I also played Ninja Bots, which is the AR. It's a DLC for Playroom that they had, and it's kind of like a runner type game, and it's a great kids game. My son loves playing. He can actually play it by himself without me needing to help him and stuff. The only thing is it's only one level, and they programmed it so terribly that once you're finished with the level, and it's kind of cool as you earn coins throughout the thing, and when you're done, all the coins pop out and they're in your room, and you can kind of interact with that stuff. But there's no way to play the game again without backing out and then going back into it. And it's only one level. And it's like, you know what? I'd fucking buy more levels for this shit if you would just put them out. I mean, it can't be that difficult. And even just program it so that I can go back into it when I'm done playing. Like, hey, would you like to play again? Instead of having to go out to the main menu and go back into Ninja Bots again and fucking have them do that shit again. But it's fun. He likes it. So I just wish more DLC. I would totally buy it.
All right. More DLC. Do it. Marissa, I know you said you haven't had a whole lot of time to game, but I'm going to check in with you anyway.
My gaming week has consisted of playing Waze driving up to Sacramento.
Hey, you know what? Geolocation games. Waze is kind
Warning,
of a game.
police ahead.
Yeah, but you run over candy and you get points.
That is true, actually. Also been playing Don't Break Your Phone, and I've been playing Studio One and Pro Tools. So
fantastic. That's all right.
Although you know what, the Call of Duty game, the most disappointing part is that you don't get to play as Kevin Spacey. I would like to play Kevin Spacey game.
Maybe that's an Easter egg at the end. Maybe like something
No.
you get in the ending. No? What? DLC.
Kevin
That's
Spacey,
it's
the
DLC.
game.
It's Kevin Spacey DLC. That's
Yes.
what they do now. That's the thing you really want is DLC. That's what they're going to do.
What you're gonna want is probably new
Push F to spend $9.99 and
new player
DLC.
skins for multiplayer. That's probably the only way you build it.
Boy, oh boy. All right, I talked a lot already, so I'm not going to ramble on. My gaming week, I already talked about everything I checked out at BlizzCon. Before that, more Diablo 3, more Final Fantasy 14. Was playing Binding of Isaac a little bit this week on PlayStation 4. But I pushed A and B. On the plane ride home today, I pushed A and B to pay respects to Metroid, which I had on my 3DS. I was like, what do I want to play on my 3DS? Because Theatrhythm doesn't really work well on an airplane because, you're just hearing the of the engine or whatever. So you can't really hear Theatrhythm. But I played Metroid. I was like, what the heck? Let's play an old 8-bit game. So I played some Metroid, and I was having fun, and I was like, I need to do more classic game live streaming, invite friends over, and just have fun with these classic games and see how much I can remember, because my Metroid muscle memory will take me okay, I remember to go get the thing that lets you morph into the ball. I remember you go get the missile after that, and then you go get the bomb, and then you go get the ice, and then I was like, wait, what's after the ice? I'm like, is this where I go and get the jump boots? Or... shit, I don't remember. Do I go with the Varia suit now? Damn it. And I kind of hit a wall, a mental wall. I was like, I don't remember where I go at this point. So it's your muscle memory only takes you so far, and it's kind of sad. And then I realized after I shut it down, that's the part where you backtrack all the way to the beginning, freeze the bird, and get the extra energy tank. Or do you need you need the high shot, the long shot gun for that, huh? Dang it. Damn this memory loss. Oh well, that's why there's game facts, right? All right. So that was my gaming week, getting irritated at how much I'm forgetting in my advanced age. So let's get into some housekeeping for tonight. Hey, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/OLR. We are also on Facebook, facebook.com/Orange Lounge Radio. And as far as I know, no shows off in the near future. Maybe December 7th. I'll pencil that in for right now, but I'll find out about that for sure in the coming weeks. But at least for the next few weeks, we will be here. And we hope if you're available Sunday night, you'll come check us out live sometime. 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern at vognetwork.com. Let's get into some gaming news. Producer Loki tonight of tonight's episode, since I was in the air.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. Start us off.
So Ubisoft, I guess briefly, because Bobby had said that these have come back now silently, but they had pulled off their upcoming PC titles from Steam, and that includes Far Cry 4, Assassin's Creed Unity, and The Crew have been they disappeared off Steam, and I guess the statement that they gave was, we've been in discussions about Valve about Assassin's Creed Unity, but for the time being, the game is not widely available via Steam in the UK. In the meantime, UK customers wishing to purchase a digital copy of the game can do so by visiting the Uplay store. No, I don't think anyone wants to visit the Uplay store, to be honest. Or our retail partners or other digital distributors. And they were also saying that it was also gone from the store in North America, and I haven't got to check to see if it's back yet. And also, still on other sites other than Steam, like Green Man Gaming and that kind of stuff, Amazon.
No, I heard they came back today.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
whatever disagreement or whatever issue, I guess, quickly got resolved. Fairly quickly, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's back on the store. Looks like I see Assassin's Creed Unity right here for sale.
But they never really got into the real reason why they disappeared. Just, who knows? Interesting. I hope this doesn't go down a road like we worry about with Netflix. And I actually was thinking of this today because I saw a commercial on the in-flight TV for Disney Anywhere or something is what it's called, where Disney is basically taking all their movies and doing their own type of Netflix type service. And we all know
Everybody
there's HBO Go. Yeah, everybody's doing their own type of service. And we're all kind of sitting here going, ugh. This is there needs to be one hub with multiple things.
That's the thing. Is that unfortunately everybody was wishing, geez, I wish I could get everything a la carte. I wish I could have all my. I don't want to watch Fox or this. I want I only want to watch Disney. Well, here you go. Here's all your Disney stuff. But yeah, at the same time though, stuff like Netflix is going to get gutted with all these shows being taken off there. Although they kind of cycle stuff through, like they have the old 1990s Ninja Turtle movie there now.
Yeah, it seems like Netflix is at least thinking ahead a little bit, and they're trying to get their own series. And they've done, obviously, like I'm a huge fan of Orange Is the New Black, and I know they have a lot of other critical shows on there that people really dig. So they at least kind of seem to be preparing for this possible future where maybe Netflix has to have its own shows worth subscribing for. I don't want to see things get fragmented like that. And just, again, I'm making stuff up. I don't know why Ubisoft really ended up doing the game pull. But I just hope it isn't something like that.
It's probably a whole lot of stuff we just don't see. Like, the inside stuff. Maybe it's something you play. Maybe it's just something that they want to implement that Valve's not okay with, or I don't know. Who knows?
ActF says, I want to say they removed them and added them again because of region pricing and locks. That's a thing there. ActF says, it seems like new games added to Steam can be cross-region gift locked. Interesting. Pow in our chat says, everyone wants a piece of the pie, but they don't realize that dividing the market is the worst thing they can do. And Dungeon Buster says, capitalism running wild. And YYR says, unlimited Disney movies sounds great for kids and their parents. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at, I think they were giving away Wreck-It Ralph for free, and I was kind of looking at it, going, well, maybe I should get that. I like Wreck-It Ralph. So there you go. All right. Well, moving on to another story. This is, what's funny is that this link to the story actually wasn't working before the show. Oh, now it's working. There it is. I thought it was because the website went down.
I was going to say, it's your link. So.
Yeah. No. Well, I thought maybe the website went down during the week. But what happened is that the game went down. And I thought maybe they were cleaning house.
I've never heard of this game.
I had heard of it, but it was in a very diluted market. And the game we're talking about is Dawn Gate. It was Electronic Arts, or EA's answer to the MOBA genre. Where League of Legends, Dota 2, Smite, Heroes of the Storm. All of these games already exist. So, unfortunately, it's a pretty fragmented market, and Dawngate tried to get into that market, and unfortunately, in a letter written at Dawngate.com from Group General Manager Matt Bromberg, he said, today I have the unenviable task of announcing that we've decided to stop development of Dawngate. They basically talked about, we were trying to do this, and he said, we knew going in it was extremely competitive.
But us being EA, just because we stopped development doesn't mean we're not going to release it. We're going to put it out there, but we've just stopped development. If anything's buggy, we're just going to leave it as.
You got to they could repurpose it a little bit and just put it out there as a $20 game where you could just go, all the characters there, and you can just go head to head with your friends or something. They could do that. I don't know if they will. I mean, they've got Origin set up as a storefront. Why not make a little money off of everything you invested? But. We'll see. But they are saying, as part of the process of closing down Dawngate, we'll continue to operate the game for the next 90 days. All players will be entitled to a full refund of any money spent during the beta. So there you go. If you did spend money on Dawngate and you were a big Dawngate fan, at least you're getting the money back, even though this news probably sucks for you.
Why were they charging people during a beta?
To be fair, Blizzard does this too. It's to quote-unquote test the store.
Oh, yeah. Test the store.
I know. But
it's working. We're making money.
To be fair, whatever you buy in the beta, you will have when the game goes live. And these are free-to-play games where the transactions are based off of these characters or these mounts or these skins. That is what all of these MOBAs do.
They have an in-game store for EverQuest Online. Or not EverQuest, I'm sorry, the Elder Scrolls Online.
For the Elder Scrolls Online, I don't think they do. But Final Fantasy XIV rolled one out just a couple weeks ago with the 2.4 patch. Mounts and minions. They were very clear at FanFest to say, and he even said in English, they all speak Japanese and not a lot of English, but he said in English, no pay to win. So he wanted to make that very clear. But just mounts and minions and things like that only. But that still pissed off some of the fan base. And I get it. I never bought that crap in WoW. The only time I did it was when it was a charity minion. And props to Blizzard. One thing they did announce at BlizzCon, they'll be doing another charity minion for American Red Cross Ebola relief. They're going to do a 100% charity minion there. So,
which all of 5 people have.
Well, but to be fair, I believe the American Red Cross is also helping the people in Africa. So,
Well, that's better.
Yeah, that's better. So,
hey, you want to hear a joke about Ebola? You probably won't get it. Yeah, that was going around Facebook. It's the pun dog.
Wow. All right, pun dog. Why don't you give us the next story?
Did you just call me a bitch?
You make it sound like it'd be the first time I've ever said that, but to be fair, you've called me a bitch more than I've called you a bitch, because I usually know better than to do that.
Hey. You know what? That's okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting The Art of Shade.
You better watch out, because I just watched a Real Housewives of Atlanta marathon on the ride home.
Why do I come here anymore? I could have just made you walk. Probably be lifting up that pant leg on.
I just get
Give
on
me a ride
Lyft.
home.
I just get on Lyft and then I'd write a nasty tweet about you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If you couldn't, you couldn't.
Bitch, please.
See? Who called who that word? Huh? All right.
At least I didn't call you late for dinner. So anyway, does anyone remember Direct to Drive? Blink.
Was that the one that GameStop bought?
It was the one that IGN bought.
Oh, okay. I knew somebody bought them.
Well, basically, yeah, they were bought by IGN.
Point for Loki.
It was basically the At Games Digital Media said that it got the GameFly digital distribution platform, which had been bought by IGN before and called Direct to Drive. So now Direct to Drive is going back to what it used to be. At Games is going to be relaunching it under the original name and not GameFly anything. So basically, it's going to be give people a way to buy and play and rent, I believe, games. Pretty cool that it's coming back. I mean, I guess that they're like, we miss it, we're going to bring it back. So a quote on here says that the vision, let's see, for new Direct to Drive is to create the best destination both for gamers to find their favorite titles and for publishers to showcase their lineups. We will bring a retail quality experience to the digital world with the best incentives and events that gamers both expect and deserve.
So it's a Steam competitor, essentially.
Yeah. But anyway, they're offering gamers a chance to win 12 legendary gems of the chosen one. Or a flashback console. Whichever one they want.
Nice.
I guess the 12 legendary gems are basically 10 randomly drawn people will get one game every month for the 2015 calendar year.
Nice.
And the flashback consoles available are the Atari Flashback 5, Sega Genesis Portable, ColecoVision, and Television.
My Intellivision Flashback should be getting here this week, by the way. If you remember the show a couple weeks ago, I went on Groupon and bought that boy. But anyway,
You know what? I have an Intellivision.
I know, but I don't. So
You gonna buy mine?
No, because I just got a Flashback console. But anyway, what I wanted to say is that, even though I just talked about I don't want to see the marketplace diluted, I'm okay with this. Like, Steam needs some competition, and they do have, there's Desura, there's Humble Store. There are still other competitors out there. But the difference here, and why I say this is okay, is because a company like this relies on distribution agreements. It's not publisher-owned, so it's not going to be just one silo of games. I mean, it is competing on the same level. Essentially, Steam. Okay, to be fair, Steam is publisher-owned, but I suppose, because Steam also has a lot more than just Valve stuff, we let it slip by a little bit. So, anyway, let's move on. Loki.
All right. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about other companies like Activision, which they're not really my friends right now, despite the fact that I'm playing a ton of Call of Duty. They've raked in, apparently, for quarter three, $753 million. Of course, a lot of that is Destiny. And, of course, they also, released Diablo 3, the Ultimate Evil Edition, back in August. So a lot of it's that stuff. And, of course, the Blizzard side of things. Of course, that brings now their revenue for 2014. They're expecting to earn $4.325 billion in that revenue. And I guess another $1.492 billion, which is expected, I guess, this next quarter. Probably, hey, that's probably Call of Duty. So, I wouldn't doubt that they're going to probably rake in a ton of money from that and hell, even the World of Warcraft expansion. The thing that I'm a little peeved about, though, is you may remember we talked a little bit about SharePlay, which was in part of the brand new PlayStation 4 2.0 patch. That it's that wonderful feature that you can take a game that you own and share it with your friends. In other words, like say Rob wants to play some Call of Duty. I can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to share play that so we can either play, split screen deathmatch or something like that, or he can play the single player version. Oh, wait, no, he can't because Activision decided to be unique about it and say, hey, we're going to disable share play functionality on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. That's right.
Is it something where maybe they're only going to do it for a little while? Like maybe 30 days you can't do it or something?
They didn't say. Their excuse, though, according to it right now, is...
I can't wait to hear this.
Yes, and this is totally not PR speak. This is, I'm sure, a completely honest reason why it wouldn't work.
From the heart.
Delivering a great gaming experience for our fans is our top priority. We're focused on launching Advanced Warfare and ensuring that people have a great time playing it, which our fans seem to be. SharePlay is a new feature that was introduced as part of the recent PS4 firmware 2.0 update. Our engineers didn't have access to it before it launched, so we haven't had a chance to evaluate to see how it will impact the experience across all modes of play. Of course, we wouldn't include a feature in our game without having the chance to test it. Once we fully analyze its performance, we'll determine how to support it going forward.
It's too new.
Really, that's kind of strange because all the other games out there that were before Advanced Warfare that definitely didn't know about it seem to be working just fine. So
I'm going to humor this train of thought for a minute because I believe an argument could be made that SharePlay will help people demo games. I mean, you're going to be able to play your friend's game and get an impression of, do I like this game? Do I want to buy this game? And if the streaming technology lags or has too much frame skip or too much artifacting or something like that, you might decide as you're testing this game, this is kind of crappy. I don't really want to buy this. This doesn't look very good. And it doesn't respond very well. It doesn't play. It's not fun. I could see, I'm trying to give Activision the benefit of the doubt. I could see an argument made there where they don't want people's impression of the game to only be through SharePlay.
Okay, then put out a demo.
I think that's a fair exchange. Then put out the demo you want people to see, right?
Because put out the first level or something like that, or put out whatever. I mean, put out something then if that's what your excuse is going to be. But I don't know. All these other games that are out there now, I don't see them using this as an excuse. I could see Activision as, we want to sell more copies of this game, so God damn it, you're not going to share your copy. You're going to buy a new copy. If you really want to play Call of Duty, you're going to buy another copy.
I would actually totally understand if companies wanted to, as much as I think SharePlay is really great and everything, I understand if companies want to be like, you know what, for 30 days we're gonna lock it out. Like I would kind of get that. Okay,
well then that's fine, but be honest about it. I don't know. It's just we haven't had a chance to test it out yet. I mean, come on. I don't think they're leaving developers in the dark about this stuff. And let's be honest here, okay? SharePlay. This was a feature that they were talking about when they first talked about the PlayStation 4. We've known about SharePlay that it was coming since E3, if not E3 of last year.
I kind of have a hard time believing Activision didn't have some access to a preview 2.0 PlayStation build. You have to suspend a little disbelief to believe that, I think. So,
well, then I guess you better not put any of those, Call of Duty games on PlayStation Now because they're just not going to play as well over the internet, right? Streaming, it's just not going to work.
YYR in chat says, but who hasn't played Call of Duty? Which actually I haven't.
Raised.
We all know how it works, but I've watched other people play it. I will say that.
I actually haven't even watched other people play it.
To be honest, though, the new game is a little bit different. I mean, the exosuit stuff makes the game a lot faster than the standard Call of Duty game. There's a lot more verticality to it. It does feel different, and it is, I would think, worthy of a demo or some sort of way to get people to check it out. Because I think it's going to be one of those games that it actually may appeal to people that didn't like Call of Duty in the past.
Fifth Dream in chat says, to tell the truth, I can't see how share play benefits the game makers, to which YYR responds, Fifth Dream, quote, hey, this is pretty cool. Maybe I'll buy it to play with my other friends. Yeah, to be fair, I just told you I've never really played Call of Duty, but if Loki could share play it with me, I would try giving it a go. What do I have to lose? Time.
Actually,
Well,
I'd say time you can't get back.
that's true.
my
but
understanding of this game is that it's the one where my boyfriend gets called crude expletives by 8-year-olds. I'm sorry, that's Xbox Live.
that's a lot of video games, actually, Marissa.
Yeah, it's not so bad on the
Which is
PlayStation.
why I talked about earlier. It's a good thing that the CEO of one of the biggest companies came out and said, there are people at the other side of the monitor. Stop it.
I'll just be in the kitchen making dinner, and I hear all sorts of the crudest of expletives from young children. And I'm like, oh, Call of Duty
You'd be
today,
surprised that actually, on all the games that I played on Advanced Warfare, I haven't really heard any of that. And even like Modern Warfare 2, I haven't really heard a lot of. I mean, there's a few times you run into a hacker, but that's Modern Warfare 2. It's a fucking old ass game.
Halo was always the worst.
Do you think that's more associated with Xbox? People always insist on that there's like people like more college kids or something. I think
maybe because it was the PlayStation 4 version I'm playing. Maybe a lot of little kids don't have PlayStation 4s that they're playing Call of Duty on right now. I don't know.
Marissa, I think the thing you were saying, I think that was a little more unique to 360 versus PlayStation 3, maybe so much as the 1 versus PlayStation 4. And I would say it was because the 360 came out sooner and it was more affordable. And at that time, PlayStation 3 took a long time to catch up. Like, it didn't really make headway in that console race until a few years into it. So I think the Xbox One really was kind of like that predominant system. But now, I don't necessarily know that the stereotype belongs to Microsoft in that regard.
And then also on top of it is now they've added a lot of things since the 360 came out, and even on PlayStation side, I think, where you can rate people. So if you run across a really annoying little prick that is just shouting expletives, first you can mute them, and second you can rate them down. And I think, I don't know, I haven't played a lot on 360 recently, but I know there's definitely people out there like that. And unfortunately, it's little kids, because little kids that think they can get away with all sorts of shit because they're anonymous.
And singing. What's with the singing?
Some people just love to sing. I mean, I don't know.
I have heard some of the worst things playing things online, like kids yelling at parents. Like, oh my God! If I were there, I would be spanking you right now, like for real, like you little brat.
And props to Sony. I was almost going to buy a new headset, but then I read up on the patch or whatever 1.6 for the PlayStation 4. It now supports my old headset that I have for the PS3, the Sony stereo one. I'm like, oh yes, surround sound, wireless, woo.
All right, well, let's move on to talking about some classics here for a minute. No, not the classic game of the week yet. We'll get there in a little bit. But let's talk about what the EFF, or Electronic Frontier Foundation, did. They actually filed a petition with the Library of Congress and the United States Copyright Office this past week over modifying abandoned games, especially those that you need an online connection to prevent piracy. You know how this was a trend we started to see in games probably about 10 years ago, started to pop up here and there in some games. So what the EFF wants is they want the laws to be modified so mods that strip out these authentication checks will be fair. Because if the developers take the servers offline and are done, then people still want to play these games, so people should be able to mod them to take this out, and that should be legal. Civilization 5 and Mario Kart Wii cited as examples in the petition, though there's many games. I know Mario Kart Wii, but I thought Civ 5 you could still play online, but maybe that'll be something down the road.
Why would Mario Kart Wii need online to play?
But I guess that's true, huh?
That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe in that case, it was a modification to be able to play online on a private server, or to.
I'm thinking that's what when
together.
I read it, I thought that's what it was. Like that, you'd be able to basically run your own servers, I guess, to play those, like for the Nintendo Network stuff. And I could see maybe it's both, that it's multiplayer servers and it's authentication servers.
Yeah. I wish more developers would realize that there are people there that still really want to play classic games and do this themselves. Like, if they're going to turn off these servers, allow people to do custom servers themselves. And we've seen some games do this. Like, I remember when Phantasy Star Online was sunsetted on PC. They were really good about being able to export your data to set up custom servers and so forth. Like, they kind of embraced that, and I always thought that should have been like a model for others. But speaking of MMOs like Phantasy Star, the petition did note that MMOs and persistent world games would be exempt from the change, since the audiovisual content is primarily stored on the developer server and not in the client. Speaking of old games and the ever-controversial quote-unquote abandonware, this link circulating Facebook, and I thought we might have mentioned this last week, but last week was a week ago, so forgive me if I'm mentioning this again, but with good reason, because this is really cool. The Internet Archive has put out the Internet Arcade, over 900 classic arcade games you can play for free inside your browser. It's basically MAME that's endorsed by the Internet Archive, and that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, but who's the Internet Archive?
It's a company in San Francisco, I believe, whose sole mission is to archive everything that's on the Internet, the Wayback Machine.
But, like,
it's archive.org.
It's where you find your old GeoCities page.
Yeah, yes, I have, and no, I'm
Hey,
not telling
I
you
still
where.
haven't seen my old AOL Ranma page.
I should go check and see if my GeoCities.
I know, right? You might be able to go see the old Orange Lounge Radio website, the old site we had for that.
But here's my thing: it's like, yeah, I understand it's MAME and stuff, and these are ROMs, but is this legal? I mean, because if it is legal that I can just play these for free, then what's to stop me from like?
Doesn't copyright expire on hardware after 25 years, hence why we have systems like the Retron 5?
I don't know what the thing is, but this isn't hardware, though. This is software. This is
they're
images
they're arcade machines.
They're arcade machines, but it's emulating the arcade machine. It's data stored on chips.
It's emulating the hardware. This is the legal gray area that we live in. I mean, this would be the same argument they'd be making in court.
I'm just like surprised that especially like with Bionic Commando being in there. I mean, I'm surprised that Capcom hasn't said, we're gonna sue you.
I am kind of surprised they're able to do this, especially because it really wasn't that long ago where on Nintendo Wii, Virtual Console had arcade games in it. Like I want to say like Mappy and some of the Namco classics were a part of that. Like don't you remember that?
Yeah, I remember
that long ago. And every now and then we get those retro arcade collections, like the infamous OLR cameo in the Namco collection on PS3.
Yeah, Namco. Yeah, well, Dig Dug. There's and it seems like there's all sorts of things. Ghouls and Ghosts. There's another Capcom game there. Frogger from Atari.
They put Nintendo games in there. Like, is Donkey Kong in there?
I was just looking for that. I don't believe Donkey Kong is in there.
That would be the one where I'd be like, if they put a Nintendo game in there, that they're the ones that really go after their old IP. Mario Brothers original be another one to look up.
No Mario Brothers.
See,
Marble Madness though is in there.
Interesting.
But see, that's what I'm kind of wondering. It's like, okay, so if these are all on here, is that like completely legit? Like if Street Fighter 2, I mean that's pretty, well known. So if these are all on here, is that like completely legit to like say, if I hadn't, and granted, I'm going to put whatever the fuck I want on my own MAME machine, but like let's say, I put these 900 ROMs on there, so that's completely legit, right? And, it says it's on here for free. I'm assuming that that's free for me to use as well on my machine.
That's a good question.
Because, and let's take it a step further. People when they make MAME machines and stuff like that, when you sell them on eBay, you're not allowed to sell ROMs with them because they're copyrighted. But if these are all free of copyright because now that they're available on the internet for free. Oh, and Tron's on there, by the way.
Fifth Dream notes in our chat room, they have Pac-Man Plus, but no other Pac-Mans. So there must be some rhyme and reason to it.
So
Namco.
Common.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, if that would be legit or something. I don't know.
I did see Konami games on there because the first game I played, because it's an alphabetical list, and I was like, Amidar, I like that game. That's a Konami game.
Space Harrier.
Ooh. There you go. All right. Well, anyway, I'm sure many of you have already checked that out. But just in case you haven't, check that out. Archive.org, I believe. The full link was...
archive.org/details/internet arcade.
Perfect. Thank you. One more story before release dates. Dark Sakura.
Mass Effect.
What? You have my attention.
Mass Effect, all the things.
Yes.
All the things.
Yes.
Well, there is a sort of poll out there, kind of a poll. Well,
do you like Mass Effect? Yes or sure?
Yes or the fuck you mean? Do I like Mass Effect? Basically, the current BioWare boss, Aaron Flynn, was on a post on NeoGAF, basically listing what the most requested features he'd ever heard for a Mass Effect Trilogy re-release. And the ideas were basically 1080p, 60 frames per second support, high-res textures, especially for Mass Effect 1, and seamless DLC. And basically, that's one thing that he said that would definitely be included if it were done, where the DLC would be as if it were already parts of the game at places in the game it would make sense. So, he also
maybe some new multiplayer maps just for fun, just as the icing on the cake, a little more multiplayer.
Here's a quote too. ME3 combat mechanics in ME1 comes up relatively often, but it's not on my radar, again, speaking personally. First, it would be a hell of a lot of work. Secondly, I hate the idea of us being accused of retconning ME1. So that, but basically the big thing is that they really are addressing the people have asked for it. He said there's no plans right now, but the quote says, when we do, we'll share ASAP.
Well, soon needs to happen sooner.
Soon needs to be like now.
Right?
How soon is now, to quote.
BioWare, you shut your mouth. How can you say we're going about things the wrong way? I am human, and I need Garrus's love.
I need to love
just
Garrus.
like anybody else does. Marissa just gave a toast. All right. Do you know Garrus, Marissa? Have you've seen the
I know of, yes.
Yeah. I'm sure Jamie's told you a lot.
Absolutely.
That voice. Mm-hmm. Guy's goofy looking, by the way. Mm-hmm. Utterly goofy looking, and he's got the hottest voice.
This tells you a lot
any.
about, though, people in real life.
And he was in a really bad episode of Buffy.
They don't say radio face for nothing.
Marissa, you're a very lovely lady.
No. But he was also in a really bad episode of Buffy, which I don't hold against him.
All right. Well, let's talk about some things coming out a whole lot sooner than a Mass Effect remake. Loki, release dates.
This week we have lots of stuff coming out. Starting off with Pro Evolution Soccer 2015 on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Xbox 360. The Halo, the Master Chief Collection on Xbox One this week. Minecraft, the PlayStation Vita edition on, obviously, the Vita. Assassin's Creed Unity on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Assassin's Creed Rogue on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Hello Kitty Racing on 3DS.
Yay! Except that series actually isn't that good.
You're the guy who has Kitty the Cool.
I don't think I bought that for myself.
You bought that when I got Vibrbin.
Oh, that's right.
Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the Wii U, the 3DS, and I believe the Vita as well. And probably PC to go along with that. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric on the Wii U, as well as Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal. That's the new Sonic game that he has longer legs. Tropico 5 on Xbox 360. Digimon All-Stars Rumble on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Danger of the Ooze on 3DS.
As opposed to the Secret of the Ooze, now it's the Danger of the Ooze.
It's the Danger of the Ooze.
Will Vanilla Ice be there to tell us, go Ninja, go?
No, but he'll be there to build him a house.
I see what you did there.
Let's see. Payday 2, the Safecracker Edition on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Shape Up on Xbox One. World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor on PC. And what else? Am I missing something? If you really want to shop at GameStop, Tales of Heart R is an exclusive for the Vita at GameStop.
All right.
For the record, by the way, in my defense about goofy-looking guys, I did marry Dan.
Well, he's the goofiest of them all. I
Love
mean
my
that
boy.
with love. All right.
He is kind of goofy-looking.
All right. If Loki's all done, but that Tales of Heart are not on the online store.
I don't know.
Interesting. I would be surprised if it wasn't.
At least it may be online, but they may have the physical
Like the
version
retail
exclusive to GameStop.
Interesting. All right, let's look at Japan. Last week was a slow week in Japan, and this week makes up for it. There's a lot more coming out in Japan this week. On the PlayStation 4, Battlefield 4 Premium Edition, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, their edition that's subtitled, is out this week. There is a new Camouflage DualShock 4, I believe, to match that. And World Soccer Winning 11 2015, that's Konami's big soccer series. That's huge. That is out in Japan this week on the PlayStation 4. Xbox One also gets the Call of Duty release and World Soccer Winning 11 2015. There's also some new Xbox console collector sets for Xbox One out there in Japan this week to try and motivate some sales, I suppose. PlayStation 3 gets Call of Duty, World Soccer Winning 11, and Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax. I do not believe this is the popular dice game that my mom used to play. It just happens to have Bunko in the title. This is actually looks like it's based off like an anime, or it's a lot of anime characters fighting each other. There's a girl on a motorbike and people with swords and epic anime cutscenes and all the things you expect in an anime fighting game. That is on the PlayStation 3 this week. On the Xbox 360 this week in Japan, yes, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, also on the Xbox 360 in Japan this week. On the Wii U this week, there is a new Wii U Mario Kart 8 set, 32-gig black and white editions coming out. There's also a game called Susume Kinopio Taiko comes out this week, which is, it's Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. I did not realize that. That's out in Japan this week? Wow, they get that way earlier than we do. We have to wait till December for that. So that is out in Japan this week. And on the Vita, that Dengeki Bunko fighting game is out there as well, including Marginal Number 4, Idol of Supernova is out. And there is a new PlayStation Vita Mercury Duo, light pink white version that's out this week. And lastly, on the Nintendo 3DS this week, Disc Wars, Avengers Ultimate Heroes, One Piece, Super Grand Battle X, and Osawari Tante Ozawa Rina Nameko Rhyme comes out this week in Japan. There's your Japanese release date. So there's actually quite a bit this week. Busy week in Japan. Dark Saga.
You're still getting better every week, Rob.
Thank you. I'm trying.
All right. Well, in UK releases on the 12th, we have Retro City Rampage DX. And I'm waiting for it to reload once again because yuck. I don't know why it does this. I'll have it loaded and it'll be like, no, we're going to reload. Okay, so as I was saying, Retro City Rampage DX. And we have Toy Box Turbos for Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. On the 13th, we have Assassin's Creed Rogue and Assassin's Creed Unity. There's also PES 2015. World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor, also known as Warlords of Drano.
Warlords of Drano.
As I heard.
We'll unclog that lack of content from the past year.
And then on the 14th, we have Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham on fuck near everything. And that's it.
Some folks in chat letting us know that that is Toad's name, Japan. I didn't pick up on that. I actually didn't know that. Like, I've probably heard that before, but, I don't play a lot of Japanese Nintendo games. So, Game Guru specifically in chat, Kinopio is what Toad is called in Japan. I never realized that. So, there you go. All right, just a couple more stories, and then the classic game of the week. But first...
All right, so apparently the... first DLC for Mario Kart's right around the corner. Did not even realize it was that close. Probably because I don't have Mario Kart 8. But Mario Kart 8, the first piece of DLC will come out. And including with that, I guess they've confirmed that when you use your amiibo in Mario Kart 8, you get a character-themed costume for your in-game Mii character. And also, they're going to have new characters and new courses. I believe that if I remember correctly, the first piece of DLC is the Hyrule Cup. Or Triforce Cup, I'm sorry. The Triforce Cup. And they've already kind of gone over, I guess, according to the Nintendo Minute video, which courses are going to be in there. And so including with that, Wario's Gold Mine from Mario Kart Wii, Rainbow Road from the original Mario Kart, Ice Outpost, which is a brand new track, and Hyrule Castle, which I guess has rupees instead of coins. And there's even shortcuts that trigger the secret found chime from The Legend of Zelda. So that's pretty cool.
That Excite Bike track looks really cool, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But that F-Zero track really pisses me off.
Was it? And then the Yoshi Cup, which I believe is also part of that. Yoshi Circuit from Mario Kart Double Dash. The Excite Bike Arena, which is a brand new track. Dragon Driftway, which is also new. And Mute City, which apparently they said there's no coins on the course except when you drive over the recharge strips. And the entire track is race and hover mode.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel. Like, on one hand, it makes me really sad because I'm like, does this mean we're never going to get an F-Zero game again? Like, can't Nintendo just announce one for 2016 or something? Like, get me a little bit excited, please. Like, I love F-Zero.
Well, we'll get into more details about new games that they're working on, and I'm sure you'll be excited.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, one of those games that we got some details on is the fact that they're remaking Majora's Mask. It was announced that the Majora's Mask remake is going to be coming out for the 3DS in spring of 2015. You know what? There's a lot of fans that really wanted this. I wasn't huge on Majora's Mask, but there are some people that, like, this is their favorite Zelda in the whole series. So you know what? I'm glad they're getting this remake. Because the remake of Ocarina of Time, again, I hold the unpopular opinion that the Nintendo 64 Zeldas really never matched the Super Nintendo Zelda for me, but that's my opinion. And
I share that with you.
I know, but other people think we're totally
And you're
wrong.
entitled to be wrong.
That's right. So some people love this Majora's Mask, and they do look really good in 3D, at least the Ocarina of Time did. So the fact that Majora's Mask is getting that same treatment is pretty cool. So you'll be able to experience that in spring of 2015, and they did the whole little announcement trailer during their Nintendo Direct. Now, speaking of Zelda games, Amiibo figures will work with Hyrule Warriors. So if you do happen to get an Amiibo character, you can use that on Hyrule Warriors. If you use the Link Amiibo, for example, you'll get the spinner. This is a weapon that was originally in Zelda Twilight Princess. Other figures are just going to give you random weapons, materials, or rupees. So it's basically, hey, if you spent money on this stuff in real life, we'll give you something in the game. So I mean, it's not like you're going to be playing as Princess Peach in Hyrule Warriors, and if you thought that was ever going to be the case, you were...
Can we get Mushroom Kingdom Warriors? Because that would be pretty sweet.
Actually, that would be fucking rad. I'd like to see something like that, Dynasty Warriors cross Mario. That'd be amazing. But sadly, probably not going to happen. All right, Dark Stalker, you have another story for us.
I do, and it's also about amiibos. Although I really feel like extending the me because it's two eyes. Amiibo. But apparently there is going to be some talk because third parties have shown interest in using the amiibo technology, and they might be allowed to have them of their own, or to be able to use them in their own franchises.
What third-party games? Sorry, somebody had to say it. No, Sega would be the likely candidate, right?
Probably Sega.
I could see a Sonic.
Maybe some Capcom.
I mean, I know that this doesn't mean that the third parties get to make amiibos, but I could totally see where Nintendo would produce a Sonic amiibo for Sega. I mean, it's still a hugely popular character.
So if we
just
put
none of his friends.
If Mario was able to go into say Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric or something like that, would he have extra long legs too? Would they give him all lanky legs? Except, I guess, Waluigi would be perfectly, fine there.
Well, the quote from Damon Baker, who is the Nintendo of America licensing manager, says that they've been getting some creative ideas coming from third parties, and they're working on opportunities for next year.
Okay. Sorry, I can't hear you over my machine printing all that money.
All right. Let's take a trip down memory lane to a time when gaming was a little bit simple. You didn't need all this other stuff to attach to your game to get stuff. You just put in the game, insert cartridge, and play game. Hooray! It's the classic game of the week, and again, I find myself without the music, so I suddenly have made this the new song. It's for the classic game of the week. Oops. Hey, I got off a plane 3 hours ago. Give me a break.
But not literally.
Figuratively, got off a plane 3 hours ago. Although, that wasn't a lie. Yes.
I left I got you around 4. It's not quite 7:40 yet.
I literally am sick of this conversation. All right. The classic game of the week, Dark Sakura.
Misuse of literally makes me figuratively insane. How
I'm
about
gonna come over there and bop you with this mic, and it'll hurt.
I'll throw up on you. These things are foam coated. It might not.
What's the classic game of the week?
Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. Because I'm still going with the Sega Model 3 theme.
You would pick a game that has the March of Darth Vader in it. What do they call it? The Death.
We just have to start with the very beginning, and then we can skip forward a little bit. But the 26-minute mark.
So yeah, you would.
If
pick
you
this.
will not fight, then you will meet your destiny.
Wow.
I remember this in the arcades when we were playing DDR.
Oh yeah, this game was awesome.
I wonder if James Earl Jones ever messes with people on the phone that call him.
I would.
I don't know. I'm just now imagining him saying, "Hello, this is Mufasa."
Tell us about the game.
Fuck. Star Wars shit. Okay. It came out in 1998. It's a 3D rail shooter that is based off of Star Wars. And it had also... it actually came out at the same time that the special editions did. It also came out with the Star Wars Trilogy pinball game. So it was sort of like this big batch of Star Wars all at the same time. And it was the second in Sega's Star Wars Arcade series, preceded by Star Wars Arcade, and followed by Star Wars Racer Arcade that came out in 2000. So basically, it has two big themes, which are reenactments from the first from the actual 3 Star Wars movies instead of the shit ones that didn't exist at the time. That have 2 missions each and a bonus battle against either Darth Vader or Boba Fett. The normal gameplay has you moving a crosshair around and shooting shit. And you have a special event button at certain points that will highlight and trigger different events on screen. Your first mission is the battle at Yavin in the X-Wing against the TIE fighters. And then the second part is flying around the Death Star, shooting, Darth Vader's TIE fighter. And the third part is basically the trench run. So the Empire Strikes Back has the Hoth battle. The second part as the escape from Hoth. And, shooting, going around in the Millennium Falcon. And the third part is in the hangar shooting snowtroopers and a Wampa. Poor Wampas. They never asked for that. And Return of the Jedi has you doing the speeder bike reenactment. Then you move toward the base on Endor. And the last one you have to basically just shoot down a walker. The game's very final mission has you as an X-Wing pilot to destroy the second Death Star. It also has the bonus stages, like I said. One of them, you use a lightsaber to deflect Boba Fett's blaster shots. And then the last one is versus Darth Vader on the second Death Star. Really freaking good game, especially for its time. It was really, I'd say, it threw back to having the old original Star Wars arcade, but it was just really fun, and I still think that, graphically and play-wise, it still holds up today. So, that's the classic game. Let's hear it for the Sega Model 3. It was also specifically on the Step 2.1 hardware.
Some comments in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. Dungeon Buster says you could kill the Wampas on Hoth, but you had to button mash like crazy, which with the joystick could look a little embarrassing. A friend of mine was really good at the game. YYR says, I have to say, Star Wars Trilogy Arcade bordered on really unfun when the difficulty was set to maximum. The game basically bends you over and takes your wallet. Other than that, awesome.
Well, yeah, if you have it on normal difficulty, though, it's super fun. Mm-hmm. And yes, there was a lot of money spent on this machine by me.
You don't say.
I'm tired of playing DDR. I'm going to go shoot some TIE fighters.
Fair enough. It was a fun game. It was really cool for the time too.
This just reminded me of something. Remember how we've been trying to get people to submit us stuff in the mailbag or the participate email, and how we were punishing them with music from what was it?
Kim Kardashian Hollywood. Yes.
I think
Marissa's eyes just lit up like. Please don't.
Oh my god!
I think that instead we should be punishing them with music from the Star Wars dance section of the game.
Oh,
the Connect Star Wars.
The Connect Star Wars music?
Because they had all those, remember, the popular music, but we changed them to have Star Wars lyrics. Would be quite appropriate, I think, for punishments.
Let's consider that maybe for a future week. I think that will be. We'll put that challenge out soon.
I'll be absent that day.
All right.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. Oh my god.
All right. We're going to take a break. Actually, remember the chat room didn't really hate the Kim Kardashian music. Like when we were playing it on air, they were like, "It's actually not that bad." Like the Kim Kardashian game music it's kind of like, it loops an awful lot, but it's not awful.
Masochist level low.
All right. We're going to take a break, guys. When we come back, there's plenty more of Orange Launch Radio. Rapid fire news, the Fugle question of the week, which sadly was only the Facebook question of the week this week. That was my bad. I'll explain why when we come back. And your emails that you may or may not have sent, and plenty more. We're going to talk to Marissa about voice acting as well. Let her expand a little bit on, so you want to be a voice actor. So we'll talk a little bit about that when we come back with more of Orange Launch Radio right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Lounge Radio, live on this Sunday night, November the 9th of 2014, with episode number 574 of our program. If you're just joining us here live at the Voice of Geeks Network of VogNetwork.com, I am just back from BlizzCon, and I had the hilariously timed vacation where I was going to BlizzCon and going to be in LA the same time that our dear friend of the show, Marissa, would be up here in Sacramento. But we're fortunate that it didn't totally crisscross, and she's able to join us here tonight. So hello again, Marissa.
Hello.
Now, earlier in the show, we were talking about that you were going to tell a longer story, but I wanted to get right into the game news for some of our podcast people that I want my commentary, I want my Loki rant as soon as possible tonight. Let's get to it. But now that we're a little deeper into the show, I thought I think there are a lot of people that might be curious, like, what do you go through to become a voice actor? How did you get down this path? So, Marissa, how do I become a voice actor?
As I said earlier, now we're going to transition the show just completely off topic into Rob and Marissa's giggle time.
That's A-okay. I think some of our listeners would be A-okay with that.
Well, it's just one of those things that you can't even just talk about yourself. Like, hey, I do this, because everybody has to know, how do I do it? And then it also explains, what I've been doing. But, excuse me, that's great moments in voiceover right now.
That's all right. I always tell people hiccups are like the internet radio guy's biggest enemy. So it happens.
My allergies came up here.
Oh yes, welcome to Sacramento. Allergy town.
I was like, I don't have these down south. I got them up here though.
That's okay. You're breathing in cancer living down there. So
that's true.
Watch out for those sentient yellow clouds that follow you around.
I don't live in that foggy place that we go up to on the 5. That's different.
Right. Anyway.
But yeah, it's just something that I always want to do, and I was inspired. I was actually studying to be an animator as a child, and then I watched behind the scenes, and they were showing the voice acting, and I've always been in love with the human voice. It's such a versatile instrument, and animation combined with that, and then games. I'm
gonna have to send you the bit from Mass Effect 3 where Trainer talks about wanting to lick Edie's voice.
You ever had somebody tell you that? I want to lick your voice.
I wish it was voice.
If your voice had a body, I would lick it from head to toe.
All right, anyway, stop interrupting her.
Sorry. I guess though, it's interesting, thinking about, because I know there are people every time again when you say that this is what you're doing, people ask what to do to get ready to get into it. It's funny because the industry has changed so much with the internet, as so many industries have. But the one thing that stays consistent is that you still have to be the best. I came back from a major convention that I was blessed to attend, and I'm lucky to live in a major hub. But there's just so many opportunities. It's really easy to get caught up. Not a lot of people know that the thing that most people make the bulk of their income on is commercial, because there's going to be thousands of commercials per one video game, per one piece of animation. And there's a website actually called voicebank.net. And you can look up all of your favorite actors. Their demos will be posted there.
Huh.
David Hayter's is pretty fun.
Huh.
And if you want to talk about talent, I mean, it's always amazing to listen to, all the different animation from here to here, those types of leaps and bounds. But when you listen to somebody within a constrained space, you know, like when they have to do, like, you know, Rob Paulson, he's your friendly Honda dealer. You know, in addition to, you know, Pinky, when you listen to someone's commercial demo and then you start to recognize them, it's fascinating to realize how much versatility they can demonstrate in a constrained space of, you know, being a regular guy.
Wait, so me being a regular guy, could I just upload what I think are good Rob Roberts voices to this voicebank.net? Or
believe it or not, though, what you said, though, as being a regular guy, that is the style of advertising that you hear right now. Well, we talk about this right now. Like when they talk about the class, like people don't want to hear that anymore. Our generation is
you
too
know what
cynical.
happened to the wacky morning DJs? They all got replaced.
Yeah, no more morning zoo. You want a free T-shirt? So, yeah, though they are obsessive about that. When you know, take classes, listen to what you like to hear on television and radio. Like, as a good friend of mine says, you know, find styles that you like, because it starts with emulating for a lot of people. But you have to learn to grow out of that, because you'll listen to all your favorite, when you're talking about games and animation, when you listen to your favorite people, they will constantly tell you it is not about the voice, which confuses people, because these people, you know, like Greg Berger and Rob Paulson and Tress MacNeille, like they can do such beautiful and wildly, you know, versatile voices. It's because if you can't act, it doesn't matter. You know, you still have to be underneath all of that. You have to be able to act first. Like, I remember seeing this guy come to our group, he had this beautiful, you know, like Don LaFontaine type voice, but he didn't know how to connect with what he was reading, and that's what you have to learn to do. And but now, thanks to the internet, I mean, you can you know, with a microphone at home, you're capable of pursuing a career at home. They make that sound way, you know, much easier than it actually, you know, is. It's not like that. Just, hey, kids, just get a computer and plug in and you could be a voiceover star. No, but it's given a lot more opportunities. And you just, you know, like in any entertainment field, you have to be careful and focused, because at the end of the day, the most competitive thing you have is to be the best.
It's interesting because there's a lot of parallels there to podcasting, and some things that are like completely opposite, because, you know, any idiot with a microphone can podcast. Hey, how you doing?
Many of them shouldn't.
Well, no,
yeah.
you know.
Okay. There are people who should, I think
their ideas through a little more thoroughly
yes,
before they do
that's
so.
exactly
Yes.
it.
And but a lot of this stuff about driven and really like striving to be the best, and I think just kind of having that drive is so crucial, because if we didn't sound like we wanted to be here at Orange Lounge Radio, would we have people listening to us? Like, you know, well,
that's why it's called acting.
Well,
played.
Not that I'm going to play any of this garbage coming out this week, but we have these fucking games coming out, and this whole industry's a joke.
Which is true. I'm kidding.
You know what? On the other hand, though, it's really easy to replace the drive for the drive to be the best. You know, because you can go to all the podcast conventions and you can obsess about your Facebook page, but you know you could completely lose track of being good at your podcasting. You know, that's what you have at the end of the day. And of course, the first step to that is, you know, honing your talent. You can do that privately. And here's the thing I always tell people too, is that, you know, record at home, and you can do that, and it's pretty easy, you know, to do it nowadays, or even on your phone. And then, like, you know, continue to practice, but like a month later or two, you know, listen back on what you did. And if you think you were fantastic, you're a bad actor. Because,
no, you're right. We are our own worst critics.
Well,
I always listen to OLR, and it's not that like I like the sound. I like to hear my own voice. In fact, that's actually, I'm not like, who is that nasally gay guy on that show? But like, you know, it's like I am my own worst critic. You know, and I will fix the problems.
Of course, but you know, we're artists. We're all broken on the inside. But the thing being, though, if you're like, oh, I can do this crazy, I'm so great because I can do these voices. Like if you listen to that a month later and you think that you're great, then you haven't grown. Because right now I'm up here and I have a friend of mine who's a recording engineer, and Lord knows that there's plenty of those in LA, but he's a good friend of mine and I love working with him, and I'm working on another demo. And it'd be really easy to go, you know that thing I did? Shit, I'm good. But if you look back and you you think that, it means you haven't grown. Like my friends go, aren't you beating yourself? I go, no, I know what to do now. I can do it better.
Act Deft in our chat room says, actually, it's about acting in games journalism. Anyway. Slow clap for you, Act F. Slow clap for you. All right, look. So when you say practice, what does that mean? Should I invent a character? Should I try to emulate something I've already seen? Like, can I practice doing my Grover? Near, far, near. Far. Should I practice my own Grover for a while, or should I come up with my own thing?
Well, if you were to just specifically do that, you would take a lot of funny and good character voices and characters have come from a bad impression of somebody else. But it's true though, not that was bad. But no, but they weren't able to do it correctly and it turned into another character. But if let's just say you don't have an acting background, you would write down a little sheet and it's you would write it down like you would a gaming character though. Like if you're doing RPG, you would write down your character. And that's the way you remember it too, because it's not a voice. Everything that you love and the people that do what you love, it's because they're all indistinct characters, not just funny voices, Although I do have a funny story about Jim Cummings, and I told this to him, and it's so cute because I did a show with one of his kids, and this girl kept saying, "Oh, she was so sweet. I just got a kick out of her." But she's like, "My dad keeps embarrassing me," and I go, "Why?" And she goes, "He does voices." And I was a 12-year-old, 14-year-old voiceover geek, and I don't know why this didn't occur to me. But all of a sudden, her dad comes to pick her up at the cast party, and it's Jim Cummings. I'm like, oh, yeah. Her last name, I just, and I told him the story, and he laughed, because it's true. He's talking about how, your kids, you're never cool to your kids. But, but...
L.A. can be hilarious like that, though.
But their friends are like, come on, please do it. She's like, Dad, don't, please. So he's delightful and wonderful as well. So I know that voice is a great documentary. It's on Netflix right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Act Jeff just talked about.
Yeah, it's also on the premiere. That was so much fun. You're into people that you love in the bathroom. And June Foray, she's this big and amazing.
Amazing, flawless goddess
yes.
of the universe. Oh my God, June Foray.
I also recommend, of course,
Magic of Dispel, right?
Yeah.
You've all played the DuckTales game, Magic of Dispel, June Foray.
That's true.
No, don't even. You have to go further than that. Rocket J Squirrel.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Natasha. Also, Rob Paulson's podcast is amazing, Talking Tunes, and on Netflix.
It's still weird hearing him as Donatello, just saying.
And on Netflix, it's funny because for me, and a lot of people get a kick out of seeing it, in a fictional narrative form, In a World. And
I still want to watch that. The trailer for that was, yeah.
Yeah, that's the movie where the idea is that people are volleying to be the next Don LaFontaine. So
let me ask you, before we get back into gaming news, because I do have to get back to that track, let me ask you one more question here, and that would be specifically about, practicing. And here's one common practice. You know that Twitch TV is a thing, right? You know Twitch TV and the people are playing the video games on it. This is something I see on Twitch TV all the time. And that is people are playing role-playing games, and they decide they're going to act out the dialogue text that's on the screen. And they like to read it, you spoony bard, and they do all these weird voices that don't even sound... would you encourage that sort of behavior, or stop, enough?
Depends on whether you're in public or not.
Well, Twitch is pretty public.
That's, it's just you know what? You can be as silly as you want as long as as long as you believe what they're saying, and that's a lot of people's method of practice. Of course, you still have to be able to, again, do with the natural voices, like the commercials. I can't stand it right now, especially as a woman. You'll turn on the TV, and it's hey, come on down to Guitar Center. You can or you won't, whatever. Advertising is fantasy. You'd think you'd want to hear beautiful voices, but you know what I was wondering, too, is why do they use this voice so often? They talk about that in a world too, but
hey, sometimes you get that not so fresh feeling. Yeah. So that's why there's Kotex.
Get some fucking Tampax.
Just find it at the grocery store. Okay?
You know what though? Maybe the reason they use that ad is because especially that Guitar Center ad is she doesn't sound like she knows anything about guitars. She doesn't sound enthusiastic about the store, but she kind of sounds like
she's the bored girlfriend.
No, the groupie that you might want to get with. So.
And she kind of sounds like that bass player.
The vocal fry.
YYR says, "Shit, I need to go to Guitar Center right now."
She sounds like the one character on Saturday Night Live that kept one-upping everybody.
Oh, the Kristen Wiig character. That one, the one that would always she'd one-up everybody with their story. What Alan perked up. What is it? You know this. You know that character, though.
It's like, I gave birth to 5 baby cows.
Yeah,
the-
I did that one
The
thing.
baby arm thing?
Like, I'm friends with
no,
Tom
that's-
Cruise. We're with Crows. Yeah.
Yeah, be as silly as you want, as long as though you do have to make sure that you are acting and in the moment. And there's lots of different theories about that. Like a lot of people don't have any acting background, but they understand music. But either way, you have to, understand a character, understand how having to get in a character and things like that.
I think if Rob and Marissa ever do a giggle show, I think we should consider doing a Twitch stream where we act out role-playing games with completely inappropriate voices. I think would be, yeah, you spoony bard. Like,
Oh my god!
Just play games with dialogue in them, but turn the voice volume down and just make up the voices for them.
Some people though, like they've got publicity for themselves. I mean, a lot of people that through successful YouTube videos. But I mean, the same thing. They're like, all you need is a microphone. All you need is a camera. Get yourself on YouTube and you'll be famous. No, but you know what I mean.
Like Metal Gear Solid 5.
Well, I just can't wait for the show because now I'm imagining we might be playing Mass Effect and it's like, hey, you guys, my name's Garrus and I got to go do some calibrations.
Oh my! Who wants a free bumper sticker?
All right.
I'd watch that.
All right, Marissa, it's always so lovely to talk to you, and I wish you lived up here. I do, but I understand you got to be where your industry is. And best of luck with all that. And I hope that next time we have you back on the show, you are having this huge list of games and anime to promote because I know you could do it.
You can go to my site and listen to my demo and you can feel the embarrassment.
We believe it or not, we have industry people listen to the show, so you never know. Where's your demo where people can hear it? MarissaMeisel.com.
It's MEIZEL.
Okay. Marissa
I'll answer to Measle, but
This
it's
smells
Marissa
like
Meisel.
crack.
Right.
Oh yeah, we have pumpkin pie. We're distracted now.
All right. So
Thank you so much.
I'll let you ladies get to your pie, and we'll get to rapid fire news. Loki.
All right. All this talk about pie.
Sorry, SSG100 Matt in chat says, "Ow, it's Wolfman Jack, and this is my favorite spot on the Citadel." All right, anyway. To register participation for this week's episode of Orange Lounge Radio at VogNetwork.com, use the passphrase CROWD. Loki.
All right. Well, they talked a little bit about the Instant Game Collection for PlayStation Network. These are going to be the brand new games you're going to be able to check out if you're a member of PlayStation Plus. And because Drive Club PlayStation Plus Edition has been kind of delayed for a while now, our first retail game coming to the Instant Game Collection for PlayStation 4 is Injustice Gods Among Us, the Ultimate Edition. Which is cool because I have not played that game.
Yeah, I already own it because I bought it in a mega sale. But cool that we're taking this step. I can't really be that mad.
They're also going to have, I guess, the standalone Infamous Second Son expansion, Infamous First Light. So if that's free, that'd be pretty cool because
that'll be
interesting.
Great. Yeah,
and also Secret Ponchos and the Swapper. I'm sorry, First Light and the Swapper are going to be for January, whereas the other two were for December. I forgot that they're putting both months there. See, I didn't see what they had on. Oh, that's only PlayStation 4, so I don't know what they're going to have for PlayStation 3 yet. But maybe Injustice for PlayStation 3.
it makes sense.
So that'd be kind of cool. All right. And then, let's see here. This is kind of cool. Grand Theft Auto 5. And, they're going to be having the HD remake coming out here in just over a week.
Not that you're counting down or anything.
I don't do the counting down. My pre-order does the counting down for me. But anyways, so they're going to be having that come out. And to go along with that, they're actually going to be putting out the soundtrack for the game on vinyl as well as the CD. That's pretty amazing that's going to be on vinyl. Now,
Hipsters only listen to vinyl.
And hipsters were a part of the game. So I guess it's going to include 59 tracks from the game. It's too bad, though, that they're not actually going to be having the full soundtrack, which they're going to be including, because they're adding like 150-some songs, I think, into the HD-ified version of the game. So, I don't know. I'm very interested to play that. Can't wait. But yeah, the 3 CD soundtrack or 6 record vinyl. collection they're going to have there.
Wow.
And how much is that going to cost me? No idea. Probably not going to buy the vinyl because I obviously don't have a record. Wait, I do still have a record player.
Yeah.
You know what? If hipsters really wanted to do it right, they'd bring back the 8-track.
I mean, like 1 million 8-tracks, so just to, I don't know. True. And then last but not least, this must be exciting news if you're a fan of Pikmin, but guess what? Instead of working on, say, something like, I don't know, a new F-Zero game, they're going to take, Pikmin 3, which was kind of, is okay, but they're going to make a Pikmin 4. They're working on games. This is continually launching campaigns after release of software will lay the groundwork for the next iteration of Pikmin in the future. And needless to say, we want it to be one of those motivations for potential consumers to purchase a Wii U. We are making a variety of different efforts. I don't think Pikmin's ever going to be a reason why people purchase the Wii U. I think it's more one of those things where it's like it helps bolster it up. It's a nice thing to have in the pocket. There are definitely a lot of Pikmin fans out there. Maybe we don't have any hardcore Pikmin people, but I know people that really enjoy the series and so forth. But it doesn't seem like the type of like system seller that Mario or Zelda or even Bayonetta is. And to go along with that, Pikmin 3 is also getting a demo, which I'm surprised they didn't have a demo for that yet. But now
that's a great idea.
Going to put one out. But seriously, though, focusing on Pikmin 4 and you haven't even brought F-Zero out yet. I mean, I would think F-Zero would be more of a system seller than, say, Pikmin.
Depending on what the whole, how many resources they're having to pour into it and what they're having to pull from other projects. It's kind of like one of those, I realize there's enough Pikmin fans out there. I'm cool if they want to go down that road and explore Pikmin 4 as long as, it's not coming at the cost of, my dream F-Zero game or, hell, Animal Crossing Wii U, which I think we all anticipate will be the next big thing they announce at E3 or, whatever. So,
well, they haven't really announced anything beyond. I mean, they've announced a few things for 2015, but maybe that could be something that takes place in that second quarter because they haven't really said. I know they have for the first part of the year they've got Splatoon, but right. And I assume Zelda's fourth quarter. So beyond that,
we'll see.
I know what you're saying, but I keep hearing Splatoon and thinking of my old Uncle Roy.
Very different. Very different.
I know.
All right. I got a few stories for you guys. First off, Duke Nukem 3D, the Megaton edition. It is coming to the Vita and the PlayStation 3. I actually didn't know that this was being planned, but if you somehow still haven't experienced Duke Nukem 3D, the good one, then come and get some on the Vita and the PlayStation 3. Devolver Digital did announce that on Twitter, January 13th, 2015, and in Europe the next day. I guess this was announced way back in August of 2013. I just somehow forgot because, I've been happy with my Steam version. So,
I still haven't played the Steam version even though I bought it. Shocking that I bought something on Steam that I have not played.
I think you should make a note. I think we should battle each other this week and stream it or something. That would be fun. Come on, Loki, an old school battle.
I would be willing to do that. I just don't. God, it's been so long. I used to play that exclusively just keyboard, so I would use the arrow keys or whatever it was to look around. I would never use the mouse.
Well, if you are interested in buying somebody's garbage, you can do so. The ET game cartridges that were in the New Mexico desert are now available on eBay. And I think I remember we talked about this, they were going to be going to eBay or something. We just brought this up the last week, so that's why we're putting this in rapid fire news tonight. But they are out there on eBay, and if you want to know how much these are getting, I see there's one up on eBay for $500. By the way,
just take a crap on one of mine and put it on eBay.
These cartridges are not guaranteed to work. Just so you know,
well,
as is because they
have
been
it's ET.
They have been in a dump for 25 years or so. So yeah, there are other games available. By the way, when I when I see a game like Sword Quest is available, I'm kind of well, that's kind of cool. But I don't know. There's a part of me that's oh god, the big video game fan that I am should own a piece of gaming history like that, but then I'm that is fucking garbage. What would I do with a piece of garbage? Can you even hang it on the wall? Look at this garbage
Rob,
I have up on the wall.
Shadow boxes. You can have the arcade, you could have the Atari shit pile shadow box.
You could just buy a copy of ET, hit it with a
banana
hammer, and
peels
then
up
put it in a
there.
shadow box. It would be just the same.
No. I don't know. So, you know what? There's people that are into this and collecting this, and don't let our little cynicism get you down. If this is a piece of gaming history you want to own, then more power
Where's
to you.
my HD remake?
Of ET?
Yeah.
Maybe when they release ET 2, Electric Boogaloo. Anyhow, Luigi's Mansion. You remember that series? Luigi's Mansion is going to be getting an arcade game. Here's the funny thing. It's made by Capcom. Developed by Capcom. The arcade version was being actually tested about a week ago, October the 30th to November 3rd. But now the arcade game will be coming out. The arcade game is based on Luigi's Mansion 2 that was on the Nintendo 3DS. It's only playable in a first-person perspective, but Luigi does appear in cutscenes, so it's not like you're never going to get to see him. So that's pretty cool. Summer 2015 is when the game is set to be released in
So
Japan.
is it like a shooter? Or is it like an on-rail shooter or something like that?
No, it's Luigi's Mansion.
Sounds like it's along the lines of, though, maybe like the Gun Survivor games. You think?
Perhaps. I'm trying to see if it says anything here. Gloomy Mansion is a stage that's in the game. You get an in-game tutorial from Elvin Gadd, and there's a poltergust-shaped controller which sucks in ghosts if you shake it, and then there's a start button and a bomb button. It sounds very similar to how the game on 3DS controls.
Yeah.
Kind of neat.
Well, I know something better than that. There's going to be the golden age of arcade gaming on the Nintendo 3DS by Sega. Basically, we're getting a new batch of Sega 3D classics that are going to be the best of them. There will be the 3D Fantasy Zone 3D Outrun, 3D Fantasy Zone 2, and 3D Thunderblade. Which, and also Afterburner 2 is going to be in early 2015. But I don't care about any of the rest of them because Fantasy Zone, and I'm sure Dan's going to be happy about having Outrun. So, but Fantasy Zone is really the best Sega game in the universe. And that and Space Harrier. When
I read that earlier this week, I was like, oh, Jamie is going to have some heavy breathing on OLR this week.
I'm screaming internally.
You know that cat picture with heavy breathing?
I know.
All right.
I know. I might need new pants.
YYR in chat says, OMG, really? Is this happening?
This is happening. This shit's going down. Jamie's going to be a happy bunny. Also, we can finally kill our Sims in the pool. Yay, Sims 4 has pools. You can drown your Sims, which is the best thing ever.
Yay.
I want to make the best ghost house ever once I get Sims 4. There need to be more mods for it.
I'm going to make a family and call them the Sorrows so I can drown my sorrows.
I'm going to just have two characters, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and they're going to be dead. Like the play, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
You all got problems.
You know what? I only have one problem. It's named Rob. It's a problem.
You had 99 problems, but a Rob ain't one.
No, Rob's actually included in problem.
I would love to
There,
see.
you remember, you can't have a problem without Rob. I'm kidding.
I would love to see a psychological study on, like your mental health compared to what you do to your Sims.
When you start writing that paper, I will give you something to write about.
I was always disappointed in The Sims that you couldn't put a diving board on the second floor of a house so they would be able to dive into the pool that way.
You can, but it has to have the pool as an interactive thing. But you can actually, there's a code to make items clip and post them and put them anywhere. So you can put a diving board on the second story and have someone jump off of it.
Act Deft is referencing a years-old meme in our chat room by putting in all caps, pools opened.
I'm having flashbacks to those theme park games and doing sadistic things in those games.
Like half-finished roller coasters?
Yes.
You mean the Hell Coaster?
Like Final Destination 3 reenactments?
What was that one ride? What was it? Like, there was the one that was really long. Mr. Bones something?
It's been so long since I've played those games.
I think it's Mr. Bones Wild Ride or something.
I just remember the one where then you could ride the ride yourself. In like remember when like virtual reality
my God,
they had all
yeah,
this
yeah,
roller
yeah.
coaster? They had like a one where you could build the roller coaster.
That was
and
a
then ride
Disney
it.
one because I remember getting that one because I always, they wanted me to use the chain drive to go up, and I was just like, I'm just gonna have it go in a corkscrew, and I'm just gonna have accelerators the entire way up and kill people with G-forces that way.
SSJ 100 Matt says have a family called the Gatsbys and have the game end without them all dead in the pool.
All right. Anything else, Dark Saga?
Spoilers for an old book. Anything
else, Dark Saga?
Spoilers for an old book. Nintendo has confirmed that Splatoon will have a single-player mode. They have a trailer out for it now. But yeah, you can be single-player, so if you only like playing with yourself, you can play with yourself all night.
I love playing with myself.
Yes.
I don't have any friends. Single-player mode's going to be great for me. No, I think...
At least it's single-player and not single-handed.
People are not always available to play Splatoon at my beck and call. Marissa, do you plan on playing Splatoon by yourself?
What did you ask me about?
The Splatoon was the
Do
end
I what
result.
by myself?
I'm asking you about your love of
You're not supposed to have an interest in these activities. I'm a female. Am I what by myself?
Even females can love the Wii U.
Everyone eventually goes Splatoon.
Back, you, what's the name of the game? Myself. I've had too much soda. I'm sorry.
All right, let's get to the Fugle question of the week, where we ask our listeners a question. Well, then what are we going to do? I mean, that's...
Giggle time!
No, we're definitely doing the Fugle question of the week.
It's radio control.
So, here's the thing. I might have screwed up. So, you all know Loki produced tonight's show, which, by the way, Loki has done a fine job with tonight's show.
Yeah, it was very last minute.
Well, that's okay. All the shows usually are. Wink. But here's the thing. So Loki did tonight's show, but Loki actually didn't have admin access on the Google Plus community because I had no idea that Loki was actually on Google Plus, so I never gave it to him. So he did have admin access to the Facebook community. So I apologize to our Google Plus people. This week's Fugle question only went to Facebook. But usually the Fugle question of the week is where our Facebook and Google Plus communities come together to answer a question that we ask of our listeners. And asking this week, with so many releases coming out this holiday season, what is a game you think people might overlook and really should be playing? This is a good question. Good job, Loki. What are people going to forget about?
There's a lot of things you could forget about.
With like 50,000 games coming out over the next month or so, what's the one that's going to get swept away that people need to not forget about? I think that's a great question. So Alan starts us off. Alan Alchemy saying, I keep hearing about this little indie effort called Dragon Age Inquisition that might be a sleeper hit if enough people gave it word of mouth. In all seriousness, I keep hearing about Fantasy Life on Tumblr from everywhere. It's like a cross of Animal Crossing and Harvest Moon, I guess, and a ton of people don't really know about it. I've heard of this from some of my fellow podcasters that are really into the Nintendo games, but I haven't checked this out myself. But that's a great example of one that might be getting lost right now. A little indie effort called Dragon Age Inquisition. I doubt anybody's going to be playing that.
Oh, shut up. Everyone's going to be playing it and shipping everybody with everybody.
Because that's what we do in BioWare games.
We ship.
Hypnotoad replies and says, Final Fantasy VI. Play it, live it, love it, so says Hypnotoad. See, here's the thing, though. Its release is coming out this holiday season, not holiday season 20 years ago. But it could be the mobile release, because that just came out not that long ago. So it could be that. It could be that. But it is a classic. Why not?
Didn't they just put, was 6 one of the ones that they added on Steam?
Not on Steam yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't happen. But 5 has to happen first. So we'll see. Well, I guess it doesn't have to. They can do whatever the hell they want, really. I would say Hypnotoad's answer really amounts to screw the new stuff, go play a classic. I think that's kind of what I'm hearing in that answer. Act F replied and said, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. The levels on Super Mario 3D World are really fun and get really challenging towards the end. Though I expect many to just dismiss this title because it's more of the same in the price. But I'm looking forward to it and playing it this holiday season. I gotta say that Nintendo Direct thing that they showed for Captain Toad's Treasure Tractor. Say it 4 times fast.
Tractor.
Treasure
That'd
Tractor.
be a little bit better.
That would be awesome.
It's like it's a Mario version of like farming
simulator.
sim.
Yeah, exactly.
God, you know what? I would totally play that if it was farming sim.
Mario goes farming. That'd be great. Yeehaw. Anyway, I seeing the Nintendo Direct and seeing really how varied a lot of it looks, I was like, all right, maybe I'm one of those people that's writing this game off and not really giving it a fair shot. So, good example. Of course, if you're a Wii U owner only, that's one of the 3 games you have to buy this holiday. Usurping Slurpee says, I don't have enough time to play the games I already have, let alone those that are coming out. But one game that hasn't been receiving a lot of attention is The Forest. Think survival horror meets Minecraft.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that once, but I haven't seen much on it.
I came super close to buying it, but then I was like, no.
AZHP says, with the PlayStation TV out, it's a great time to play games you might have missed with a low-investment PS TV at $99. It's $100 less than a Vita, and you can play great games like Persona 4 Golden and Super Danganronpa 1 and 2. P.S. Shout-outs to Jonas for taking second place at the U.S. Pump Festival yesterday. Freestyle is dead. Long live freestyle. I heard, actually, that Jonas... I don't mind you derailing that, because thank you for the reminder. I had read a tweet from Jonas that he did very well in that Pump It Up competition,
That's awesome.
so...
He won second place.
Yeah, well,
National.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
I know.
what it
It's,
says.
it's amazing. So, where's my video? Picture didn't happen. So,
I want one of whatever Alan made.
yeah, he's they're cooling right now. He made some cookies. Is what he made. They're chocolate peppermint cookies. So, anyway, less cookies, more video games. Krylo responded and said, "I agree with Captain Toad's treasure tracker. Super excited, and it looks like so much fun." How about here in studio? I'll just open mic, whoever wants to answer. Any games coming out this holiday that you're afraid people might miss?
No.
That's tough because
Go outside and play.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, it would probably have to be an indie title because I'm kind of familiar with a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of like, I feel like there's that indie title I haven't played yet.
Ironically, I think The Crew, I think a lot of people aren't going to be really paying attention to that but it looks like an interesting driving game. Gosh, I don't know. Dragon Age Inquisition, I keep forgetting is coming out. So I may look at that.
So maybe there was some truth to Alan's answer there.
Seriously, I mean, like, I keep forgetting that game is coming out.
If you're on Tumblr, you will never be allowed to forget.
I've never played Dragon Age, although I have. Was it Origins? I think on Origin. So
To be fair, Jamie, if you're on Tumblr, there are a lot of things you're not allowed to forget.
I'm not on Tumblr, so I guess that's
Probably all the better for you.
It's a scary place.
I don't know. Straight white men are not allowed on Tumblr.
Is that is that one of the questions that you have to answer when you?
Are you
sign up
straight
for
white
Tumblr?
male?
Are you
It's all check their privilege. Sorry, nope.
are you a straight white cis male? Do you need a bodyguard?
Check here for privilege. No, all right. We kid. All right. Let's get to some more stories. Loki.
All right. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about Tony Hawk. Yes, Tony Hawk. Who's that guy? I mean,
You mean he's relevant?
he is nowadays, I guess, or he's coming back. Because he did do a mobile game. You may remember. I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't a console game, but apparently Activision is getting desperate for a Tony Hawk game because they haven't had one for several years now. So Tony Hawk will be making a comeback, or at least they're going to have another game come out in 2015. Please, Activision. No games that require some sort of weird-looking, snowboard-like controller. Because that was stupid. Please don't do that. Just make a Tony Hawk game. Oh my god! And I totally played a new Tony Hawk game.
I'm sorry. Cookies.
I like the Pro Skater games. And Skate 3, though. I do want to try Skate 3, even though that is not a Tony Hawk game, because the glitches look so awesome.
It's been on a break for a little bit, so why not? Like, I even think it's time to try another Guitar Hero. Why not?
I want a new DJ Hero.
Yeah,
I want a new DJ
me too.
Hero.
Me too.
So want a new DJ Hero.
That's-
I need to play DJ Hero. I've got the controller. I was even looking at it the other day. I'm like, ooh, I still have DJ Hero.
Anyhow, unfortunately, you can't play DJ Hero on your PlayStation 4, which is why we need a new DJ Hero. But PlayStation 4, as you know, there was some dramas with the firmware that came out, meaning you couldn't put your PlayStation in rest mode. Well, here is patch 2.01 to save the day. 2.01, quote, addresses issues some users have encountered when powering on the system from rest mode. Now, I didn't hear if this actually released or not, but I thought I'm hearing it did in Europe. Okay.
It has here because I updated when I got my system back.
Okay,
and
good to know.
It does work.
Yay, because I liked rest mode because that's how you charge your controller when you're not playing.
Yep.
So, all right, good to know that's back.
Charge controller and using it to download Call of Duty because it was like 40-some gigs.
Speaking of updates, Xbox One is getting their last update of the year, and it just started rolling out. And this is where you can now customize the background image for each account's dashboard on the console. It's, I guess, similar-esque to PlayStation 4 themes. You can also have locations and bios and 6 game clips or achievements that you would like to share on your profile. These are the 6 most meaningful. This is the teabagging moment that really meant a lot to me. So you can do that on.
I called some guy an asshole online and didn't get banned.
So also there's some marketplace tweaks to help make it more navigatable. Also there's a trending tab in One Guide that shows the 20 shows that are most popular with the general Xbox audience. Probably Walking Dead, and Walking Dead.
Within reason.
I get a feeling Downton Abbey probably won't be making the list. Just call it a hunch. Barefoot Contessa on the Food Network. Don't think she's going to be in the top 20. All My Children, probably not.
Why don't they like the Barefoot Contessa?
What?
Why don't they like the Barefoot Contessa?
Because it's
She makes delicious food. How can you hate delicious food?
You can't hate delicious food.
You can't eat the delicious food. I guess that's where the anger could come from.
How dare I?
Sorry, Rob, you were saying something? Because there's cookies. I'm in a cookie coma over here.
You know what? Barefoot Alan Alchemy just made y'all cookies, so enjoy it. All right. Anyhow, if you want to see more, Major Nelson did a little tour that you can look up on YouTube and get everything detailed. But honestly, if you're an Xbox One owner, you probably already grabbed it, and I don't blame you. Hey, Dark Sakura is going to take a break from cookie eating and dive into the mailbag and find some emails that our listeners have sent us this week. Or she'll make Marissa read them in a silly voice. I'm going to put her on the spot.
I read him in a silly voice.
All right. It is the mailbag. Participate at orangelaunchradio.com if you would like to participate with a future mailbag
I'm going to be the
segment.
Guitar Center lady.
All right.
It's probably been a week late to ask, but I was wondering, are there any horror games that would have made good haunted house / maze attractions? No, I'm going to do my normal place.
You became a Gen Xer.
Huh?
Became a Gen Xer.
They do usually prefer to keep the lines moving, so I doubt one could watch monitors in a room for 10 minutes or find picture fragments in a seemingly endless maze of hallways. Comes from Robert M. I'm actually going to be... I'm not too big on many of the haunted house ones myself. I'm going to be playing Five Nights at Freddy's soon.
Wait, so we're talking about what game should become a haunted house?
Like the Silent Hill.
Silent Hill thing? Okay. I just want to make sure I understood the question.
Well, they did one just recently, I think this year, for The Evil Within. So they did one for that. It's like a promo thing.
Makes sense.
They may have done one in the past for Resident Evil, I guess. I could see that. What would make a really good one?
Thief, Deadly Shadows, The Cradle. That's my vote. No, seriously though, like, if you hadn't played anything in the game, that's one of the scariest levels I've ever played in the game, ever, The Cradle. And then one day I played it, and no one was at home. It was the dark, it was raining. And the boyfriend came home, he's like, are you okay? Yes. I was playing The Cradle in the dark. It's like, I told you not to do that.
You know what'd be cool,
really
though, is if
genuinely
they
scary.
took the PT and then did that sort of like a whole house like that and have monitors on the various levels. You have to track the ghost.
Or they just do the Silent Hills trailer and just recreate that, like, fuck, nope.
I'm going to go with what was already said, Five Nights at Freddy's. Come on. That is... somebody's got a nightmare. That
is a movie franchise waiting to happen.
That's all of my childhood nightmares.
That guy's going to make some bank.
That guy's going to make bank. It's not going to be like Minecraft bank, but it's going to be like the next big indie thing.
Let me put it this way. There's so many cult horror movies out there nowadays, somebody's going to license it. They've run out of ideas.
They made a goddamn Ouija movie.
They've done
they did one of those before. It was called The Exorcist.
They did one before that. It's called Witchboard.
Writing up the agreement.
By the way,
actually, The Exorcist came out before Witchboard.
This is a great case, by the way. Actually, you have a Ouija board case for what is that?
My Ouija wallet. Yeah.
Oh, your Ouija wallet.
So she can be thrifty and contact the dead.
Should I buy that bag? YES
And argue with the wallet.
SALE
Maybe I can
question mark.
Maybe I can find a spirit with better credit than me.
Are you Steve Jobs? NOJK.
How about Yaris?
Mommy
Yaris
needs
would
a
make
Neumann.
good, like,
Yaris. Only the remake would be scary. And I'm kidding. All right, we've thrown ideas out there. Next email.
Hello, Alar.
Oh, sorry, chatter.
What?
Alan Alchemy, Amnesia. Nope. My favorite Let's Play of that game is where the guy starts the game, and in 15 seconds, something starts coming down the hall, and he goes, nope, and he turns it off.
what was that? What's the other one that they have? That the other survival game that's on PlayStation 4 or whatever. The
with the old penis that's in it.
yes, old penis.
Outlast.
Outlast, yeah.
I like being on the outside of this conversation.
Where Rob's just jerking off some air.
Marissa, that old penis. You know what I'm talking about? That old wrinkly.
Hello, LR.
Oh, hi.
I just wanted to say thank you for the really nice retrospective and reminisce that was episode 573. Do you ever still go to that parking lot diner? No.
Not that one.
Not
Not
that
that one.
but other ones in the franchise.
Yes.
There's more often than one in Rancho.
Yeah.
In the Cho.
Me too. In the show.
That's what Dan calls it.
I'm not even from here, and I know that you all call it Rancho Cambodia.
Margaret Rancho Cordova.
No, from the days of working at the Funko Land turned GameStop turned Radio Shack.
Gotcha.
They called it the Cho.
Got it.
Anyway, it reminded me of many a day spent waiting in coin lines to play DDR Max 2 and then Extreme, all of us slowly working our way through DDR's content while actually forming meaningful relationships and groups. I would have to say that my favorite old school DDR license was So Deep from DDR Max. So deep. With my runner-up being every other license from DDR Max. While my favorite non-license was definitely Insertion from Fifth Mix.
You also said insertion.
Insertion.
I'm saying, if we're going for every possible euphemism.
There was a song in DDR called Insertion, and it even had this, if you listen very carefully, there's a point where it goes, like it's part of the song.
Herder.
And I go, was that the insertion? I don't know. Anyway.
I personally still play In the Groove 2 at least 1 to 2 times a week as my only exercise, and folks in the community are still creating new charts all over the difficulty scale. Times definitely have changed, even on weekends. I generally don't have to wait in line, and I'm usually the only person on the machine at the overpriced, underpopulated local stomping ground. But hey, at least I still have one. Strangely enough, I'm going to mispronounce this, Nanuet, New York, close to the semi-famous and fairly enormous Palisades Center Mall, a new arcade is opening on Saturday, November 15th, called Nanuet Arcade, which will feature stepping games, among other things. Will it have Spider Stomp? It's not complete without Spider Stomp. I hope the owner has gobs of money and isn't afraid to lose them, but I digress. I did want to remind folks of something. For many of us lucky enough to be located in several pockets around the U.S., Bimani is still very much alive and well. Thanks to both the ingenuity of the community and Konami's indifference, it is possible to play current or recent versions of Bimani titles such as DDR 2014, 2DX22 Pendule, Papa Music Sunny Park, and more, plus to utilize the network features of the games using actual Konami e-amusement cards, which I have one. Purchasable either online or at the same arcades that have the games. I got mine at Classic Gaming Expo a couple weeks ago. Years ago. I want to say weeks. Some locations include Game Underground in the Boston area, New Chinatown Fair at New York City, 8 on the Break in, I'm going to mispronounce this too, Dunellen, New Jersey, Arcade UFO in Austin, Texas, Press Start in Las Vegas, and Super Arcade, as well as several Golfland locations in California. The new Nanuet Arcade I mentioned earlier will also be joining this list when it opens. Further, a few of these locations still host yearly tournaments, such as Champions of the Coast at 8 on the Break and Best of the West at Sunnyvale Golfland, both of which feature simultaneous competitions on almost every music game they have, and there are many. I just wanted to throw out there that I believe it would be truly awesome for OLR to record a segment at Best of the West next year, which will likely be in August 2015. So yes, in closing, I just wanted to say that not all of us are done with music gaming. I would go so far as to say I still spend about as much time playing music games as I do everything else, and that's unlikely to change. We drink Ritalin, Aaron YYR.
And I didn't mean to like make it sound like there's no community at all or whatever, that everybody should have moved on. But I mean, I think it is smaller than it used to be, and Konami definitely doesn't have like what the oomph behind it that they used to, because they closed some of their studios. They're not cranking out the DDR games like they used to, so I think that inherently kind of slows things down. However, and I just want to make sure this is like super clear, and I do appreciate the email and everything, but I am still a huge fan of music games. I mean, maybe I don't obsess about Bomani so much, but anytime Konami releases a game on iOS, I check it out, even though I know I'm going to be like whatever. But like, I love like music games still. Like,
all they have to do is release anything as like an actual retail release, and I'd buy it. Probably.
I just bought Hatsune Miku like not that long ago on PlayStation 3 because it was on sale, and I really wanted to check it out. And it's a great Dreamcast game for my PS3. And there's still lots of music games today I really do enjoy. So I just want to make sure that's a genre I'm always going to love. And I wish they would make a new Rock Band. Damn it! Even Marissa's nodding her head over there. That's
Oh, I was going to say, I have all my instruments in my garage.
I'm for that too, and I liked the latest Rocksmith. I mean, that's with an instrument, but I love Oasis. My friends are teasing me, like, you know how to play the songs for real. I'm like, yeah.
Maybe I should go to Guitar Center and pick up a guitar.
Yeah.
Rocksmith.
I was like, but I can play it in a game.
This next email, I sort of thought about whether or not to read it. Rob, I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about.
No, because I thought those were the only two emails we had.
That's right. We had two more. One of them is, I will go ahead and just put this out.
Sure.
We have a listener who, just to rephrase this, has a Wii U that is having trouble reading discs, and he created a GoFundMe and asked the community for assistance. Yeah. I'm of two minds about it, because there are some of us who are... we go out and buy our own things when they're broken, but some people may not be able to afford it. I don't know if you're in that situation.
Buy a replacement disc drive.
You know what? Why don't I'm gonna say go because we haven't had this situation before. I'm gonna read this one, but let's not open the floodgates to more.
Absolutely
of these. Not. But since this guy thought of it first, go ahead and read it, and I'll let everybody make their own decision, because he'll have the pitch on the GoFundMe page. So
okay.
Go ahead.
Basically, he's saying over the next few months, though, my Wii U has occasionally had trouble reading discs. Now it won't read them at all. I tried Nintendo's lens cleaning kit as well as several home remedies, but nothing worked. When I called customer service, they told me the disc drive would have to be replaced, which would cost about $150, including shipping, which I can't afford. So, with several other upcoming non-gaming expenses, I thought I would have a go without a Wii U for the foreseeable future, but a friend suggested I try crowdfunding. What better place to start, I thought, than the OLR community? So, I will go ahead and give you a plug on this one. You will probably be the one and only that we do this for. Mm-hmm. But it's at GoFundMe.com/H1065K. And then ended saying, thank you in advance for your time and kindness, and thanks especially to you, Darkstalker, Sky, and Loki, for informing and entertaining me with most of the past decade. Sincerely, Justin Masterclaw. P.S. If my goal is met within the week, I might be able to give back to the community somehow.
At least I've heard this name before, so it's somebody that I know has posted on Facebook a lot and so forth. And I just want to say, I don't want this guy to think like, God, what jerks they're being. Like, I'm trying to do like a thing. It's just like,
no.
Unfortunately, we've been around a very long time, and we've seen a lot of like dark things, so we have to question everything. That's just part of sadly what we have to do. Like, I'm going to tell you guys, I don't want to get into all the details yet, because I haven't been able to put it all together, but something happened with Horde House this week that we didn't really talk about on air, and I'm not going to get into it so much, but like, it really was something where I was like, I kind of got an email that was a little bit of a mindfuck in a way, and I'm worried it might have been a catfish thing, and I feel really bad like going to that negative place, but something didn't connect in my head, and so I had to do a little research, and there was some things that didn't line up.
Yeah.
But it was a very, like, serious kind of email, and I was just like, yeah. So anyway, I just want to say, like, unfortunately, yes, even little old podcasts that very few people listen to like us, sometimes we've had some not so great things happen. So anyway, sorry, I don't want to.
Universal rainbow of trolling, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, but again, I don't want to make this guy like. I'm sure this guy is well intentioned. I hate to.
And see,
I didn't mean that. About him.
I'm more inclined since I remember the name, and he's been around since 2004, listening to us blab about shit all week.
Right.
I was inclined to give him benefit of the doubt.
That's fair. But
And it's up to our listeners whether or not they want to be kind.
just keep in mind, and that's always going to be a thing when it comes to money. And we here at OLR, we haven't asked for your money, like, besides charity things. We might have said donate to the MS Foundation or, things that we've done charity drives for in the past. But, we don't usually ask for money. So when other people ask for money, we have to really question it.
And if we support a charity, we are going to research the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to have, like, a Komen walk.
But
because fuck them.
We did just have guests. We had like 3 weeks worth of guests that were talking about Kickstarters.
Yeah.
So it's fair. Anyway.
Fair is fair. This is the last email. Hi, OLR and the ever lovely Marissa. You got a fan.
Aww. Watch this, though. I'm going to be like, this is the best person ever. The next line, something critical. That'd be a great way to open, a good...
It's your friendly neighborhood Raginator.
Aww.
I just thought I'd throw out a random topic to discuss tonight. Arcades. That's random. At one point or another, you have professed your love of arcades and how playing music game at the arcades has led to the creation of OLR. That being said, I'd like to pose these questions. Do you remember your first visit to an arcade? What did you play? Please elaborate. I can tell you. I mean, I've been in arcades since I was probably an infant.
Yeah.
I remember our Aladdin's Castle, and this one had been there since like the 70s. It was the same one I went to when my brother Matthew was 6 and got hit by a car.
Oh my gosh.
And nearly died. They had carpet on the walls. That's how old it was. It was like going to the freaking roller rink. It had carpet on the walls. And I remember going there and beating Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade. At that arcade. That was when they shut off the power right when we had beaten the game. I remember going to play pinball when I was a kid. I remember having to stand on a crate to play kangaroo. So I remember Pong. I remember the sit-down Pong tables because you did have that weird burnout in them, remember? Mm-hmm. And I remember, even sometimes going to the bar with relatives and sitting down at the table to play Pac-Man, is craziness. But yeah, I've got very strong memories. Okay, the first movie my mom ever took me to was Star Wars. My dad took her to see Exorcist 3 as a romantic date. So, I've been in arcades and fun places since I was very young. So,
my first arcade memory that I can remember, I mean, I'm sure I was taken to an arcade before that, but my first memory that I vividly remember was I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. I think I was about 5 years old, and it was something to do with my sister's wedding. It wasn't the reception, obviously, but I think it was like the rehearsal celebration post-dinner or something was at Chuck E. Cheese. And I remember that I had to stand on a box because that's what they used to have for kids. They'd have like a big wooden box that you'd stand on so you could reach the controls and see the screen. Yeah. And I was playing Crystal Castles with the trackball. Remember the little dude that goes around and gets all the gems, and when you get hit by something, oh no, die. That was my earliest arcade memory was Crystal Castles.
It was a little bear. I did that for classic
Bentley
game.
Bear.
I did that for classic game.
You have done that for classic game. And the 2600 version, I remember playing that a couple years later going, this doesn't look a damn thing like the arcade version. Anyway, Loki, do you have an earliest arcade memory?
God, I don't remember. I know I played at Chuck E. Cheese a bunch of times, but I don't remember the first arcade I went to. Because this was back in the 80s. There was arcades everywhere, so probably a Chuck E. Cheese, but I don't remember. It could have been a Golfland, because I did live in San Jose down there, so I went to Milpitas Golfland before they had all the cool stuff.
It was the DDR capital, yeah.
Yeah, before all that. But and at Sunnyvale Golfland, too, a bunch of times because it was right near my grandparents' house. So, but it is one of those. I don't remember which was the very first, but I played a lot back then.
Yeah. Well, this is also in Alabama for me. So that we had arcades actually was pretty cool, other than going to Godfather's or Showbiz.
I'm sad that there's not arcades in malls anymore. Tilt. Remember Tilt?
They have...
Tilt was purchased by Namco.
Tilt!
Yeah. They have an arcade at the Roseville Galleria, but it is seriously nothing but ticket redemption machines. And I think they have that one like Konami shooter game that like every freaking place.
I
They
know
do
what you're talking about.
have Derby Owners Club, don't they? Still.
You're
No.
thinking Dave and Buster's.
That was it. Dave and Buster's had. Well,
I think this place is called Fun Factory or something like that.
Yeah, it's right there by the carousel.
Yeah, exactly.
but what was the other one that was? I was trying to think of that. Dan, when he was out on his route adventures at work, sent me a picture of a cyber station.
Nice.
There was still one open. So,
Marissa, do you have an early arcade memory that you remember?
It's definitely Chuck E. Cheese. I can't remember the game in particular. And you know, like at a young age, like I with the exception of going to Chuck E. Cheese, my parents, you know, they would always really cheap with the coins. But like I remember spending many of my teenage year playing Crazy Taxi in the mall, and we had a Marvel vs. Capcom game at the college that's still there, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy Taxi was so much fun, though.
It was, though. Everybody knocks it. That shit is fun. Okay.
We love Crazy Taxi here at OL Lard. Oh, my gosh.
let's make some crazy money.
That's a fun game. That's one of the most fun driving games.
And
like, to this
everyone
day.
knows
Bad
it's
driving habits.
We used to go to like
Take me to the Pizza Hut.
when I was in like elementary school or even like I think junior high and stuff. We used to go to like they usually have like an arcade game in like just a random restaurant like Pizza Hut. We used to go to Rico's Pizza and they used to have a bunch of arcade games there. And
Rico
stuff.
still has a decent supply of arcade games.
And Rico's, you know, with the big party pizza, you know, it's like 30-inch long slices. So those are nice.
They still make that.
I haven't been there in years.
But,
they used to have them all over, and now there's like one.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I think it was the original one still, the one on Northgate.
Is that where it is? Northgate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, the one that was in Antioch. We used to go to, like, there was, like, I remember, like, a diner-type place, and they had Captain Commando, and we'd go play that, or go down to 7-Eleven, and they'd have one arcade machine that they'd change out. Usually it was Street Fighter. But, lots of fun stuff. It'd be fun just to kind of go, like, to different convenience stores, like, oh, they have an arcade game here. What's that? Oh, it's Street Fighter. Oh, the cool, you know, or, I don't know, whatever other games they had.
Hey, adult men over 18, for an interesting gaming experience, go to your local Chuck E. Cheese by yourself.
I don't think they let people in.
No, they
I
don't.
think it's
No,
like,
but my local
you're
one-
creepy. Get out of here.
At my local one, like me and Chris could go and like play skee ball. But, yeah.
Except when I lived in Chico, you know, Chico's a big college town, and college like rules that town, right? We used to go to Chuck E. Cheese like as a group of college kids, but I think that's different. They expect that.
I had
you
my
know.
graduation party at Chuck E. Cheese.
Did you really? That's
yeah,
awesome.
one of my graduation parties.
The only plus about Chuck E. Cheese nowadays, everything's one token. Every single game is one token. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Now, one other arcade memory I just want to throw out there is playing, I think it was Star Wars Arcade at Shakey's Pizza.
Oh.
Remember Shakey's Pizza? I think they still have a Shakey's Pizza in like Oroville or some shit. Like, why on earth would I go up there? But there's the Shakey's Pizza.
We still have some down south, and they're still like with the old like colored glass, you know, ye old pizza parlor stuff.
Well, when
Anyway.
Dan and I were newly together, we used to go to Crestview Lanes, which makes me sad every time I drive by it because it's been closed and now all the homeless people live in there. Which I'm glad they have a roof over their heads. But that was like where we would go play Air Guys on arcade and Blazing Star and just some of the coolest games that we didn't see anywhere else.
Some of our chatters joining in answering this question over at live.vognetwork.com. SSJ100 Matt says, Sport Time USA was probably the first standalone arcade I went to. It's actually featured in the Anamanaguchi Meow music video. That's fun. All right, was that it for emails or one
No,
more?
there's more to this one.
Wow, okay.
As for me, my first arcade visit was to Showbiz Pizza Place in Amherst, New York, a suburb of Buffalo. In the fall of 1983, as a reward for doing well as I did my elementary school fundraiser. Side note, I came in second place at the school. When I first stepped inside and looked around, my jaw hit the floor and I thought I had died and gone to gamer heaven. Aside from eating pizza and watching the animatronic band, I ended up playing stuff like Skee-Ball, Popeye, Gauntlet, Mario Brothers, and a whole host of other games. It's because of that place that I love pizza, gaming, and associate with each other.
Oh my God, Popeye. I played the shit out of that on Commodore 64. It was so good.
You know what, actually, I always will associate forever with Chuck E. Cheese's? Pole position, a sit-down pole position.
Yes.
Always
God.
a sit-down pole position. The
With
show...
the, like early voice acting in video games.
And the first showbiz that I ever went to was in Mobile. Like the whole shopping center gone since then. But they had this room that you'd walk into on the way to the bathroom that had light up walls, and it was like the seizure room. And it was right by the speaker.
Yes, they had like an amazing strobe seizure room at
And it was on the way to the bathroom, so you could not. And they had the hands and feet on the wall that would clap.
We could do this topic all fucking night because like I could talk about at Roller King out in Roseville when they had a Spy Hunter machine, and I used to play that with skates on, and that's probably why that pedal broke after 6 months. But my God, we'll be here all night.
I could only play Frog Girl on roller skates.
We could do a whole podcast about retro arcade memories. But anyway, thank you, Raginator. All right, was that it?
Yeah.
All right, you too can email us. Participate at orangelaunchradio.com is the place to send us an email. And Dark Soccer will consider reading them next week. But I'm just going to say, if we go another week and don't get a single email, we will play music from Star Wars Connect. So I want one damn email this week. One damn email, or you get Star Wars Connect music during the break next week. I'm just saying.
And it's not just any Star Wars Connect music. It's the dance mode Star Wars Connect.
I will play I Am Han Solo, or whatever that song is. It's so awful. All right.
You should do the Kim Kardashian game music with her speaking over it.
I think I'd rather have you as Kim Kardashian speaking over it. This is what you get, you guys, when you don't love me enough, is that I'm just going to play this music for you. And, yeah, anyway. Let's get back into some news. We're going to open up the phone lines here in a little bit, 1-877-GAME-OLR, or a username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. But a few more stories for you first.
Yes. This is exciting, and I actually didn't see this right away when it came out. They had a brand new trailer. Of course, we knew that they were teasing like a first-person mode for Grand Theft Auto 5, which is, Grand Theft Auto has been a traditionally third-person action game. But now they have, a brand new first-person mode that's completely customizable that will be in the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC versions of the game. And what's kind of cool about it is... literally everything has been tweaked for first person. So it plays, like a Call of Duty or something like that. You can limit it to, I only want first person in driving, and you can do that. Or I only want first person in, the non-driving stuff. I want it, in third person in driving. Or I want to tweak whatever, depth of field, whatever you want to do. It's completely customizable. And they're even going to have, I believe... for Grand Theft Auto Online modes where it's only players that are playing in first person. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it's toggleable like while you're playing the game. I think it's just tapping the L stick or something like that to go between the modes. So that's pretty cool because actually first person for me usually would be beneficial, especially when you're chasing people down in cars. It's kind of hard sometimes to shoot people out of the front of the car, in third person, but I think first person you'd be able to a little bit more accurate, get headshots and stuff like that, in the car. I
can't wait for the first person shooter footage to be splashed all over CNN the next time there's a violent act that's blamed on video games. Or because it's going to happen.
The first person, stripper mode or strip club, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks pretty cool. So that'll be on the 18th, not too far away.
How ready are you for this, Loki?
I am extremely ready. I wish I could take time off, but unfortunately starting a new job can't do that. But
it's hard to do.
I will have the game preloaded, and I will be playing it that night. That, probably on Tuesday
You're in
night.
Training for a few weeks, right? You have a Red
months.
Bull. You can get a Red Bull to keep you awake for a little bit. I'm just kidding. All right.
Oh, I could stay up just fine, yeah. But
I know a lot of you are looking forward to the Oculus Rift. If you haven't tried this, we've talked about the Oculus on the show before. It's one of those things where, like, when you hear about it, you're like, okay, yeah. But then when you actually try it, you're like, okay, I'm a believer. Like, virtual reality has come a long way from the days of the Virtual Boy and hard driving. Speaking of old arcade games, virtual reality's come a long way. The Oculus is pretty awesome. You try it at a convention near you sometime, or soon the first consumer Oculus headset. They are saying this is months away. This was a comment that Oculus VR CEO Brendan Aribi said at a web summit in Dublin 2014. We're all hungry for it to happen. We're getting very close. It's months, not years away, but many months. So, like, probably, I would say that makes me think summer, fall next year. That is my thought. They're saying that the biggest issue right now is that an input system, a proper input system is tough. Standard keyboards, mice, and gamepads really aren't working. Gesture control is still a little bit primitive. I don't know. I've played games under all those things, and it's worked fine. But I see why they need to, establish their standard or whatever. So, there you go. Oculus Rift coming sooner rather than later, and I'm sure Bobby Blackwolf will be picking one up if nothing else, and hopefully bringing his to the next Dragon Con.
Honestly, now that I have a PlayStation 4, I'm pretty excited about when Project Morpheus comes out, because for the Oculus Rift right now, I'm not positive that my laptop would be able to run it well.
Right.
And whereas Project Morpheus, that's its own box.
I really think, I don't necessarily think we'll get a full game announcement for Morpheus, but I really think with this PlayStation event really coming out of nowhere that they're doing in December in Vegas, I really think they're going to let more people experience Morpheus, and I think that's going to, because nobody's really talked about it since E3, but I think it's going to kind of be back on on the tip of everybody's tongue come this December event. And I don't know if they'll announce. Maybe they will announce the game. Who knows? I think it's too soon maybe to announce when it's coming out, but that maybe is the next E3. But it'll be interesting to see how Morpheus has kind of evolved in the past 6 months.
Definitely.
We haven't really seen it since E3. So, but again, I was fortunate enough and very lucky to get to try it at E3, and I was really impressed. And yeah. So, Dark Sakura.
It'd be nice if it loaded. Okay. So there is a new trademark in Japan and Europe by Square Enix called Brave Exvius. I guess that's how it's pronounced. The application was submitted on November 7th and on September 26th in Japan. There is not a lot of information about it. It just says just the information that came from Kabushiki Kaisha Square Enix. So that's about it. However, there is it may possibly be related to Mavius Final Fantasy trademark that was filed last month. So could be.
I wonder if it isn't some iOS game, though, because, they have a few of those, free-to-play games. Square Enix has a whole little branch of the company that's kind of doing that stuff, and some of them are kind of rooted in Final Fantasy-esque sort of universes, so be curious.
It'd be cool if there's a new Brave Fencer Musashi.
That might be a stretch, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, well, it's time for us to get a little bit angsty, because here at Orange Launch Radio, sometimes, believe it or not, we get upset. We get really upset, and so we vent to you, the listener, as we have every week since the very beginning in a segment we call the FUs of the Week.
Oh, this is bad. Here is justice. Here is punishment. This is fucked up.
FU to having a sore throat off and on, given that I work a 10-hour shift at LOKAT. I come home unable to talk. And I love what I do. I love where I work. I love everything about my job except the sore throat. And it feels like this is really gross. It just feels like a constant pile of mucus in the back of my neck. But my ear's feeling better, so that's good.
I think it's just something you'll get conditioned to after time.
Well, I've been there almost a year. I would hope I'd been conditioned now, except that, yeah.
Wow, time flies. Let's see, Loki, you have an FU of the week?
Yes, FU to the local teriyaki joint that's off of Zinfandel named Nippon Teriyaki Bowl.
I love that place.
I do too, but I don't love is their non-posted hours and their fucking odd-ass open times.
Yeah.
Because they used to be open from sometime in the morning that I wasn't there to 8 p.m. during the week and, open to 3 on Saturday and closed Sunday, which I was still mad that they're closed Sunday, but whatever. Now, I was so like, okay, well, I don't know what the fucking hours are. I looked it up on the internet. It says 5:30 is when they close. I'm like, sweet, cool. I'm going to go pick up dinner. They're fucking closed. So I don't know when the fuck they're open anymore. And I look on the door, there's no fucking hours. So it's like whenever the hell they feel like being open is when they're open. And so it kind of pisses me off because they're so good. And I want it not just for lunch. I want to go there for lunch and maybe dinner too. Bring some of that home. But I can't because you're fucking closed.
You would think I'd give an FU that's related to the trip I just took, but everything really went rather well. I can't really complain about a whole lot. I'm really trying to think of something to complain about. I would say FU to PF Chang's because it made me a little bit sick. What was I thinking eating there? But what was I thinking?
How about Chinese food that doesn't taste like Chinese food?
Yeah, I want really whitewashed Chinese food. Like, I want, like, what if,
They do have decent dim sum.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. Like, I was going out and meeting Dr. Ken from Starboard Power Coupling and his friend. Their guildies all decided to go there because, there's only so many eating places in that safe
It's all
spot.
chains
in
over
Anaheim.
there, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I will say this, to PF Chang's credit, great drinks. I had a great drink there, so.
But by the way, I do have to clarify for the chat room. This has only been happening within the last 3 weeks. The issue with my throat.
Oh, so it's not something. Okay.
No. I keep in mind I worked on the phones for 7 years
Yeah.
before that, so I'm conditioned. Trust me.
And if you want to give some "you're not a doctor" advice to Dark Sakura, live.vognetwork.com is where you can join our live chat. Marissa, do you have an FU?
FU to my lack of prosperity. To my inability I cannot eat as many cookies as I want and stay svelte. These are delicious. And FU to everything between LA and Sacramento, the exception of the coast.
FU to the smell of cow poop. It just really
God.
really ruins that drive.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
that was a hoot.
That's why I'm glad I flew this time. I don't get to fly to LA very often, but this time I got to
That's
fly.
always an interesting flight too, because you never reach altitude. It's like you are now free to get back in your seat.
It really is. like we're now beginning our descent into Sacramento. It's like 25 minutes away. Yeah. So. Anyhow, all right. Let's get back into just a couple more stories, and then we're going to open up the Skype line 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype Orange Lounge Radio if you want to participate with tonight's show. Loki.
All right, so this is kind of cool. It's a brand new game that's on Steam and Greenlight. I guess they're trying to get approval right now. It's called Scrap Mechanic, and you build machines out of like all sorts of parts and stuff. I guess it's sort of like that Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, but it's its own thing. And so they've got some footage right now on Steam Greenlight, so go check that out. It looks like a game I want to play, and also they had there's another one I saw too that someone was working on Unity actually that was kind of like that, but you had like it was a racing game where you had a certain amount of time to build your machine, like 30 seconds or something like that, and then you had to race it with whatever parts you had, and it was really silly. So I'd be curious to check that out too. But Scrap Mechanic
Sounds like your kind of game.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out sometime in 2015, it says.
Alrighty. One more story for you guys, and it's about a classic franchise called Bomberman. You guys know Bomberman? That's a fun series, except that Xbox 360, that for Bomberman Zero. Was that what it, oh my god, it was so. Oh my god, so bad. But they did a download digital title later on that was like Bomberman Returns or something like that. It was cute. It was
I remember
good.
that, yeah.
It was fun. Well, anyway, Bomberman 3DS was supposed to be a thing, but it got canceled. So there really hasn't been a proper Bomberman game in our lives for quite some time. However, Bomberman is coming to smartphones. There's not going to be a story mode in the smartphone game, but it will be going back to the classics with competitive versus modes. You can go against the CPU, or you can go into a competitive multiplayer mode up to 4 players via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Well, that might be kind of fun. I guess Bomberman was pretty simple controls, so maybe it won't be so terrible on a smartphone. But again, there's no tangible buttons on the smartphone. Anyway. Bomberman Coliseum will be another mode in this. It's like a time attack mode. You take on various CPUs, and you can unlock boss characters by defeating them in the Bomber Coliseum. It is in Japan right now for Android and iOS, and I would imagine it is a matter of time. This is not out already. I didn't check. I didn't have time to check before tonight's show, but it's probably imminent in the U.S. unless they're doing a lot of translation. I don't know, because the screenshots are very, very Japanese. So, anyhow, that does it for our news tonight. But what do you guys think? Do you have an opinion on tonight's news or something we haven't yet discussed? Or you just want to say hi to Marissa? Give us a call, 1-877-GAME-OLR, or our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, if you'd like to give us a call. And while we wait for some calls to come in, do we have any last-minute stories from Loki?
There was one thing I saw that... And of course, I closed the damn page. Oh, there we go. It's... I guess another one of these games that's out there that's trying to hide negative reviews through DMCA takedowns. And, of course, it being on Steam, was it the Slaughtering Grounds? So kind of look out for that, because it looks like a really terribly put together game, and they're, putting DMC was it DMCA takedowns for any negative reviews that they have.
I heard about that. That is so sketchy. Like, seriously, you think the internet's not going to figure out?
Have they not learned it? Are they brand new to the internet? Because it hasn't worked for like everybody else that's tried that. So I don't know.
The internet. On Wednesdays we wear pink. Hey, we got a phone call coming in. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hey, this is Akdef.
Hey, Akdef, how you doing?
So when are we starting our Overwatch clan or guild?
Right now.
Right now?
Well, when the game comes out, I suppose. We have to wait for the game to come out.
Yeah. I was trying pretty much all evening trying to retrieve my password from battle.net because I didn't remember it. Mm-hmm. And I got locked out even.
Oh, no.
But I eventually got it, so yeah.
Are you trying to sign up for the beta?
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame you at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the game. Even though the comparison to TF2, Team Fortress 2, is pretty much uncanny. Sorry, but still, it looks like a fun game to play.
Tell us, because you are such a fan of Team Fortress 2, you probably play it more than any other listener that I'm super familiar with that calls into OLR. What was your reaction to hearing that Blizzard's going to kind of take on this genre? Were you like, oh, God, how dare they touch such a franchise that really Valve is kind of owned? Or were you kind of like, wow, this looks like awesome?
At first, I was reading about it, and people were talking, it's a TF2. It's TF2 with MOBA elements in that, and I was a little confused about it because I hadn't watched the video until later that day, and I had only watched the cinematic trailer, and that looked pretty awesome, and I got pretty interested because of that. Until that day later, or even I think the day after, I watched the gameplay trailer. I pretty much thought it's pretty much the same as Team Fortress 2. It's even the same modes. It has the same character types and all that, but don't know. It looks, even though it looks, or the gameplay looks similar, the components and everything in the game looks different from TF2. And something to add to your question is that a lot of people I know that I started playing TF2 with are not playing TF2. So I was saying to you on Twitter that if Overwatch is free to play, I know a lot of people that may get interested in it because a lot of people, like I said, I know left TF2 because they thought the game got stale or that the game didn't evolve that much from what it was.
Sure.
So it got boring. So possibly Overwatch will fix that.
I'm very curious to see if Valve might have a response to this because it's interesting how kind of Valve and Blizzard are becoming more and more competitors. The Battle.net launcher could very well become a storefront. I mean, it is in many ways. I mean, it only sells Blizzard stuff, but in some ways it is a storefront. So, and kind of goes on that whole fragmenting thing I talked about earlier. So, I kind of have to say, look at them for that. But it's interesting how they are competing with Valve, not just necessarily in that space, but the fact that, they also did a MOBA where, Valve had Dota 2. And we remember there was even that lawsuit where they were going to call the game Blizzard Dota is what Blizzard was going to call their game. But they got into a little tiff with Valve and ended up settling. But it is kind of interesting. Now they've got a game that's very similar to Team Fortress 2. I wonder if Valve might be pressured to announce some sort of Team Fortress 3. Although, I don't know. Valve kind of does what Valve wants to do. So
Valve
has had many competitors against Team Fortress 2.
True.
Like Monday Night Combat and some other games. So
Bethesda had
the only one that comes to mind is that one because that one at least got some word of mouth out, but it didn't grow that big. But there are other games like Team Fortress 2. Like there's another game free to play on Steam that's called Loadout. Yeah, that's really similar too, but not that popular as TF2. Even though those games are free to play, Team Fortress 2 is still the game to to play if you want to play team first-person shooters.
Bethesda had one that they showed at E3 because I remember that was the only other thing they were showing besides their The Evil Within, and so that's one. I remember playing that, going, "Oh, this is Team Fortress." So they've got one in development too. So, but it's kind of like when MOBAs all came out fast and furious, and I guess they still are. I mean, I hope we don't have stories like the EA game that closed this week happening too frequently in the Team Fortress 2 universe. But one way or another, Blizzard will end up fine. But before I let you go, I want to ask you about Overwatch. What did you think of the characters? Because I felt that was the strongest point of the whole thing, was that, wow, these characters are super interesting.
Yeah, that's something that Blizzard, I think, knows how to do really well. That it's characterization, and the characters look like real characters. Even though Team Fortress has some characterization, it doesn't look as in depth like in Overwatch. At least from what we see in the trailer and the cinematic and in the gameplay trailer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and even like I said in chat earlier, that Overwatch could very well be a series or a movie even.
SSG 100 Matt has a theory in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. He says, Gabe probably sat back in his deluxe leather chair watching the trailer saying, "Oh, that's cute," while watching the Valve staff make Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Act After, I'm going to let you go to see if we can get some more calls, but thank you for your thoughts on Overwatch.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Anytime. Take care, buddy.
I feel like you need to have a spin-off gaming law podcast.
Oh, well, God, somebody's suing someone every week in this damn industry. It's crazy. I feel like every week. This is like the first week in a month we haven't had some type of lawsuit story. Speaking of last-minute stories, and speaking of Blizzard, and Marissa, you can back up this statement. You can't have a good character without a good voice actor. That's right.
Wait, no, sorry. Voice.
Exactly. So, and Blizzard knows how to find great voices, and this just goes to show the Voice Arts Award, as announced by VoiceOver Times, the winner of the Outstanding Video Game Character Voice Arts Award went to Michael Gao for Diablo 3. And if you don't know who he is, he voiced Deckard Cain in that game. Oh, Deckard Cain, who was younger in Diablo 2, but in Diablo 3, he's really old.
So. That's from that's VoiceOver Convention. That's going on tonight and for the next few days in New York.
Nice. Well, congrats to him. Congrats to Blizzard. I guess he probably wasn't at BlizzCon if that was the case, but there you go. That's interesting, though, because Diablo 3 has been out a while. So
it's a relatively new organization that got together to give these awards.
I was going to say, there was an expansion, although I don't remember how much Deckard Cain was in the expansion. I don't think he was really in it, so but I don't know. Anyway. Okay. 1-877-GAME-OLR or a username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. The phones are still open. I'll leave it open for a few more minutes to see if anyone else gets in, even though we are well after 9 o'clock here on the West Coast. We usually like to calm things down, but I'll try to fit in one more call. Jamie's tired. She's yawning. She might need another cookie to perk her up. All right.
I have to go to bed eventually.
All right. Loki, anything else for the last minute stuff?
Thanks to hacking, there is a guide now how to play GameCube games on your Wii U.
Oh, wow.
Because of the GameCube controller support that they're going to be having. They're saying, hey, that's a good time to play GameCube games. Of course, it's done through the Homebrew channel, and I'm pretty sure you have to rip ISOs in order to do it, but it can be done on a Wii U.
Wow.
Wish it would just add support for GameCube.
Hack your Wii, hack it for
So we know, that's kind of irritating me. So it's like, we know it can do it, but Nintendo won't unlock it because they're going to start selling them as virtual console.
It can do it. They're putting out GameCube controllers, but fuck you. We're not gonna connect those dots.
I want my F-Zero GX.
We're gonna put an F-Zero track in Mario Kart 8. We're gonna put an F-Zero level in fucking Nintendo Land, but fuck you. You don't get an F-Zero game.
I want to play Eternal Darkness again. All right.
I want to see some cool DLC characters for Smash Brothers.
Maybe instead of FU of the week, next time we should have Wine of the Week.
Like an
Wine of the Week.
An Excite bot or,
the Pout
Gino.
of the Week. All right. Well, sadly, the phones are not lighting up. I'm going to go ahead and close it so we can wrap up because we are well after 9 o'clock. And I've had a pretty long day today. I'm ready to call it. We weren't even supposed to be here today, to quote a popular movie. All right. Anyhow, so we are here at the end of another episode of Orange Lounge Radio, and before we wrap up shop here, I just want to say, Marissa, it's so lovely to have you here in studio. Just your presence is always fun to have. I know you don't play as many games as the rest of us, but you know what? At least you still have a respect and an adoration for it, especially with the whole voice acting connections. And I think it's always interesting to hear your perspective of the industry side of things. So.
I love it. I actually do play a little more than I care to admit, but I don't want to be held to being incorrect on what I speak of.
Oh,
so
if they come for you, I will fight them. If they come for you, I will fight them.
I love being here. It's such a pleasure.
All right. You're welcome anytime that you can get yourself up here. All right, or one of these days, we're going to come invade L.A. I'm just saying.
Oh, you guys so should.
I know. It would be my dream to do a live from E3 show, but, we have to let Loki's wife let him, leave for a couple days to do that. So, all right. But, Marissa, thank you again so much for being here. Best of luck to you in your journey as you continue to find more and more voice acting engagements and so forth. Please plug it one more time. And seriously, guys, if you need a voice actress, Marissa.
You get to hear me doing some really silly stuff. It's marissamizell.com, and that's my official website, and then you can link to there. Or it's Marissa Mizell at SoundCloud, and I have some silly stuff there, too, as well. It's just good fun, and I appreciate any listens and feedback anyway. It doesn't matter who you are. It's always interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's...
I listened to that Marissa girl. She sounds like a good young lady.
That's right. She's nice. All right, she's so wholesome.
Next on the Disney Channel.
That means she's such a good actress.
That's when you know you've really got him fooled. Oh, she sounds like a good Christian girl. All right.
Shalom.
All right. Anyhow, as I say at the end of every show, thank you guys so much for tuning into and supporting Orange Lounge Radio. If you like what you heard here at the show, we've said this for the past 574 weeks. Tell a friend or two about the show. Help spread the word, because Orange Lounge Radio is the place where every gamer has a voice, and we want to have your friends at the table, as long as they promise to behave. No whipping it out and putting it on the table. That's disrespectful. Unless you're one of unless you're like Nintendo or something, then you get to do that. All right. Anyhow, let's go around and get everybody's final thoughts for tonight. I'll start with my official final thought. My final thought is, I want to give a big congratulations. Speaking of 500 weeks, I want to give a big congratulations to Critical Myth, who is having episode 500 of their show air on the network Monday. Now, to be fair, that's not 500 weeks, because they do 3 shows a week. But still, how many shows get to 500 one-hour episodes? Not a lot, and a fantastic accomplishment. And if you like television, which who doesn't like TV? There's got to be some nerdy show. No, even you will watch Doctor Who, or there's some shows you watch once in a while, Dark Saga. And chances are, if it's a nerdy show, Critical Myth is talking about it. So check out their reviews, tv.vognetwork.com, and you can actually participate and write your own reviews. And check out their shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday at VOG Network. And big congrats to Critical Myth and the whole crew over there, all those guys that met for the first time at this year's Dragon Con for 500 episodes. Woo! Okay. Loki, your final thought.
My final thought is Grand Theft Auto in a week. I guess I'll work on my game during this time so that,
because I
have some productivity.
It's going to have to write itself once that game comes out.
Well, I'll get bored with it eventually, but it'll be fun to go back in there and play it again.
All right. And last but not least, Dark Soccer, your final thought tonight.
If someone knows of an HTML5 GUI editor, because I'm looking for I'm looking for something that I can do to do dating sim-esque dialogue, for an idea I have. If anyone knows of a good one that will run in HTML5, please let me know. Thank you.
Well, Unity exports to HTML5.
I know, and I don't know.
They do have there is a content thing on the asset store for dating sim dialogue. I don't think it's free.
I wanted to do my webcomic in that format.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for another week here at Orange Lounge Radio. Have a great week, everybody, and we will see you in 7 days with episode 575 of our show and everything that might break in gaming over the next week that we have to fix here live on air. Thanks again for tuning in, supporting the show, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to Orange Lounge Radio. Orange Lounge Radio is a production of OLR Studios. To join us for a live show, tune into vognetwork.com Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff of Orange Lounge Radio or VOG Network, but you know they were all still true. See you next week.